Go Loud presents the Talking Bollox podcast.
What you waiting for? Put your back in it. Just a little more. Throw your weight in it now. Tell your body you can. Walk it hard and long. When you finish that
The hip knocker.
song, go down, go down, go down. Come up, come up, come up.
Quick shout out to Manscaped for supporting this podcast. Summer is coming, time for you to prioritise the comfort of your crotch.
Manscaped has spent over 2 years designing their new boxer briefs. They're called the Boxers 2.0. The good thing about boxers, Terence, yeah, a nice comfortable pair. They keep all your furniture in the centre of your sitting room, you know what I mean? You don't want that popping out. Any unwanted guests slipping out the sides or anything like that.
Point.
And you need to keep the lads comfortable down there as well.
Yeah, I'm having that. They're not just any boxers either. They're tagless and lie flat against the skin so you don't get the chafing. And there's a fly in it for making going to the jacks quick and efficient.
The Boxers 2.0 come in many different designs, colours and every size, from small all the way up to triple XL. Go to manscaped.com, use the code GOLOUD20 for 20% off and free worldwide shipping. That's GOLOUD20 at manscaped.com.
Once the Boxers 2.0 touch a sack, you'll never go back. Boom, episode 82 of the Talking Bollox podcast brought to you by Go Loud. It's me, Terry Flower,
It's me, CLB.
and this week we're joined by
Treacy.
Keith. How's things?
Oh, good. Great to be here.
Yeah? Good to have you on, pal. Good to have you on.
I thought you would have introduced yourself as Dick Tracy.
I was going to say Dick Treacy, but then I thought my kids might watch this, so but sure that they find out anyway. So yeah, Dick Treacy, Keith Treacy, whatever you want to call me.
Why is it Dick Tracy?
There was a detective back in the day, wasn't there, called Dick Treacy? So the second name, somebody just called me Dick one day and it stuck. And my other bit was
Unfortunately.
called Fish Show. I could have been called Fish Show. I'm happy to be called Dick.
It's a
Like,
bit worse. I know a few people with mad nicknames. How do you? I know a fella called Fiver Face, like, you know what I mean?
Fiver Face.
Yeah, and you know, and he just robs push bikes Monday to Friday, 9 to 5.
But
as
his
a
face
full-time
looks like
job.
a scrambled up fiver.
Looks like someone, now when you take a fiver out of your back pocket after night out. And it's mad because when you look at him, you go, he actually does look like a fiver now, crumpled up.
Do you know what's actually a mad one, boys? I never actually copped on it either, and we don't talk about it enough. Why is Christopher gay?
Yeah, get
Why do
digging.
we call everyone gay?
I
Who's
don't know.
Christopher? That's a mad one, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's other ones. What's the other ones, boys? There's a few ones from
Bill and William and then Bob and Robert. Yeah, but gay for Christopher?
Gay,
Yeah.
yeah.
Isn't
And-
Richard Dick as well?
Yeah.
Richard is
a
Dick?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If your name is Richard, people call you
Dick,
Dick.
yeah.
Why?
I don't know. But
How does
that's
that
a
even
nickname,
match,
innit?
like? Do you get me? That's a mad one, isn't it, boys?
Somebody knows somewhere, but I haven't a Scooby Doo.
Yeah.
Fiver Face, Dick, Fish, the whole
Yeah,
lot.
yeah.
Everyone's coming out. Right, have you listened to an episode?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So, you know what Zingers are and the whole
Yeah,
shebang?
yeah.
So, I have a page here called Mount Joy Zingers. We were up in the Joy there
We'll
last
do
week.
the results for last week's one because
Oh,
it was an
bollocks,
absolute singer as well.
This was a Mount Joy Zinger. Oh, right, this is a good zinger for you as well, Keith, yeah?
I don't like when you get too deep. Jesus.
Where's this one? Right, here we are. Would you rather everyone guilty of murder be given the death penalty or that they're given the chance to rehabilitate and be put back into society?
The immediate answer would be give everybody a chance, but you're throwing a blanket on a fucking situation that
Yeah.
you can't throw a blanket on. Like, there's some fucking horrible people out there.
Yeah.
But
But that's the zinger. That's how complex the zinger is. Do you know what I mean? It's like, what about this fella? He made one mistake when he was 18, but this fella is an absolute monster.
yeah, no,
They're
the answer
treated
is
the
I
same.
think 90%. I'd like to believe 90% of the population are not fucking lunatics, so
Yeah.
they
Yeah,
can be
yeah.
rehabilitated. But there's some fucking no-hopers out there as well.
Definitely.
But yeah, no, I'd go with rehabilitating them. Yeah, let them out.
Same. 61% would go with rehabilitation. Oh, that's so much higher than you expected. 39% of people would just kill everyone who ever murdered before.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many situations, like, I'm not getting into it, boys, like if you're going up the road, like, and then someone stabbed your brother or something like that, you'd murder them, like, and then, like, that's still murder, like, you know what I mean?
Well, that's the zinger. Isn't
I
it?
know,
That's what
like,
they say, isn't it?
and I
An eye
just
for an eye.
Yeah,
an
I
eye
just
for
think
an
it's
eye.
harsh to just go, I killed them all.
Nah. Yeah, but I'd go the opposite way.
Yeah,
Let them all out.
yeah.
Rehabilitate them.
I agree with you, Yeah, right, that was a good one from the boys as well. I actually don't know what one, do you want to pick one off the page?
No.
Right,
yeah.
Bollock. Oh, have you got one?
I had got one and I'm not forgetting it now. Bollocks.
Right, I'm just going to pick a random one here for, this is the Mount Joy ones, yeah. One of the lads, right, I don't know which, the names are anonymous, just 1, 2, 3, 4.
Keep them anonymous.
Would you rather be able to feel your emotions through your life or not be able to feel them at all?
You have to feel your emotions. So, like, we'll get into it later in the podcast, I'm sure. But I was an alcoholic for years, numbing my emotions, trying to fucking run away from them for years. So now that I have emotion and I'm able to pick me kids up and play with them and have emotions, I realise how important they are. So for me, emotions all day long. Even though there's some fucking horrible emotions out there, like heartbreak and stuff like that, but it's all part of progressing as a human being and moving on, innit?
Yeah, but you can't appreciate the sunshine if you don't experience the rain, though, wouldn't it? Like,
Exactly,
you have to realise, like, when you're feeling down and when you're feeling sad and you're feeling angry, like, feeling joyous then after that is 10 times better, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, you can wake up and have a good day and that's class, but when you wake up and have a good day after previously having a bad day, it feels 10 times better, like.
Yeah, I'd agree, boys. Yeah, they're good answers. Good answers.
I
you
have
one?
got one, but mine was going to sound fucking tame now compared to all the deep ones, you know what I mean? And
Fuck it, just
I
bang
think,
it out
did
there.
we use it at the live show or did I use it
Actually-
before?
Oh, come on, yeah, sorry.
Do you brush your teeth before or after your breakfast?
It's not a bad one. I brush my teeth soon as I get up in the morning, shower, brush the delf, and then I'm out, down what I do.
Yeah, you have to. Otherwise, like eating your cornflakes and that's horrible. Your coffee doesn't taste right.
No, I have my breakfast, then I brush my teeth.
Ah,
I couldn't think of anything worse than brushing my teeth, then having a cup of coffee. Then you have coffee breath. I'd rather get that all done first, then you brush your teeth, then you're fresh. You've had your coffee and you smell fresh then.
See, that makes sense, but I just wouldn't be able to function if I
Someone
wasn't
said
washed
this
and
to me
brushed and
before.
the whole lot.
Someone said that, like what you said, Keith. Oh, imagine your morning breath and you're eating your breakfast, yeah, but who cares? Like, you're eating your breakfast.
I live in a 3-story fucking gaff. Like, I'm not, and my bedroom's up the top of the gaff. Like, I'm brushing my teeth, going downstairs.
And you're not
breakfast.
going back
I'm
up.
not going back up.
Yeah.
Nah, I
Next
don't.
time I'm going back up, going to
Two
bed.
fucking trips up to the gaff. Nah, no chance. Minimal.
Right, well, there's my one.
That's a valid point. That's a good thing. Have you got a zinger, Keith?
Yeah, but you said you already did it. Like,
We'll let you do it again because you had a good story behind it.
yeah. Well, when I was younger, as I broke onto the scene, I ended up with Nike and Adidas trying to sponsor me for football boots. But you get fucking golf gear, all everything, all the mod cons off them. So I went with Nike because I thought Nike was that slightly bit better than Adidas. But my wife said Adidas, so that opened up a zinger for us. But you said you had Nike or Adidas before, didn't you?
Mick Conlon did it when he was on because I remember him saying, I was like, geez, that's a bit.
Yeah, I think
Can't
we all
be
went
fair.
Nike anyway. I think Nike is miles ahead of Adidas.
Yeah.
Miles ahead.
They nearly went bust in the pandemic.
Who, Adidas did?
Adidas, yeah, they nearly went under.
See, I'm at the main saying Adidas then, and
I
you're at
say
saying
Adidas,
Adidas, and now I think, my head's scrambled.
That was already why it's called Adidas. The founder is Adi Dazzler. Yeah,
Adidasler.
that's his name, Adi Dazzler. Yeah,
Is it?
and his brother founded Puma.
And what's his name?
I don't know his name.
I thought it was going to be
Paul Dazzler.
I didn't know whether it was a joke.
No, I promise you that's legit. That German brothers, I swear to God, yeah. Adi
Yeah.
Dazzler founded Adidas.
Yes, yeah, we'll throw it out again the weekend, Nike or Adidas. Right, singles are boxed off, boys. What's the story with them fizzy bleeding potatoes out there?
Yeah,
Disgraceful.
Boys, what's the crack? They're all over this building. I don't know what's happening. I don't know whether there's a
Mr.
sponsor or
Tato was in
something
giving
going
them
on.
out
Was he,
during the week, yeah.
He got a slap if he comes in here with fizzy cola Tato again. What's the crack with them?
I just can't believe that someone sat around and goes, "You know, be a late like there, boys. If we put fizzy cola flavour Crips out on the market," and then like how many people had to say, "Yeah, that's a deadly idea."
How did they get past the taste test?
How many? Like how many people had to say yeah to that for that to go out to the market?
Yeah.
And I want to
Other,
see.
isn't it? It's a packet of crisps or a packet of jellies. You don't get a packet of crisps that taste like fucking jellies. Like, it's one or the other. It's simple as that.
Yeah.
Or a packet of jellies that taste like Crips,
Yeah. It's
Oh, don't start.
cheese and onion cola bottles.
Oh, stop. Will
It's just some things you're supposed to draw the line. Like, don't do this. I want to see the sales of them. Like, you know what I mean? After like what 2 or 3 months on the market, you can
can't
see how
be
many
right.
people bought them.
Yeah, because you'd imagine loads will buy them to be like, I need to try them, and
Yeah.
and then like they'll just go, duh.
I can be smart and do what we done. Open one pack and give everyone a taste.
Yeah.
There you go.
I'm at having one Crip down at the Barnsley there, very bad.
Yeah.
Like, it's actually weird. I can't
The
explain
aftertaste.
it.
Taste
It
and
does.
all.
It messes your head up.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you're
Head
sitting
was
there
grand.
chewing on a crisp and you're tasting a jelly. It's like,
And it's cutting your teeth and all, and it tastes like a jelly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's not
really
right.
wrong, boys, yeah. Moving on from that.
mindfuck.
Yeah, someone I want to talk about because one of the boys sent it to me and it reminded me. So we were out the weekend, right? And we started up in Parnell Street and we're moving our way over here to the south side. But we stopped up in Temple Bar. Shout out to Frankie, one of the boys was saying, and we stopped to have a pint with him. And the boys went in and bought a round of drinks. 3 points, yeah, €9 each. €9 for a pint.
Ringing the credit union to go for a point. like, you know what I mean?
€9 for a pint.
That's scandalous, boys. It's an absolute joke.
And then he went on to the next bar and it was 5 something.
Like, that's a joke, boys. But how... See, they on my man's life, I ordered a point and he says €9, I wouldn't pay for it. And if I had 50 million in the bank, just our principle, I'd be like, they're not getting €9 for a point.
I was at a wedding in Trim on Thursday, and I don't drink anymore, but a can of Red Bull, £5.
Yeah,
For a
that's,
can of fucking Red Bull, like.
Yeah. Bleed
Shocking,
joke,
isn't it?
So they'll be paying €6 for non-alcoholic pints of Guinness and all that.
yeah.
Shocking.
I used to drink Red Bull when I started going out. I never drank. So when I started going out, I used to only drink that, just trying to stay awake.
Yeah.
And it was always a fiver.
Mm.
It was always a fiver. Some nightclubs used to go in and they used to give you the vodka and Red Bull separate. So like you pour the vodka in and that'd be like 3 something. And I'd be like, yeah, sound. Give the vodka to someone and take the Red Bull then because it was cheaper.
Yeah.
That's mad.
Yeah.
That's a weird one. What's the crack with €9 a pint though?
Yeah, I
That's
don't understand. Like, surely that us, the Americans are coming over here and they're like, "Oh, this is great. Yeah, you're paying
Where was
€9 a
Temple
pint."
Bar?
It was in Temple Bar.
Ah,
Yeah,
but yeah.
Yeah, now it's a
But it
price,
You
wasn't
wouldn't get
isn't
that in your local bills.
yeah.
Or like
It wasn't
No.
their Temple Bar. It was one of the other pubs, you know, like that.
around
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
But then something that really, really annoyed me and rubs me up the wrong way all the time, not being able to get into places in town. They say 3 or 4 young walking up and you're like, "Yeah, lads, not tonight, regulars only," and all. You're like, what's going on here?
It's
You
an
know what I mean?
absolute joke, that is. When boys on Saint the other week, when was that, 2 weeks ago?
If even, yeah.
2 weeks ago or something. See, I live down, doesn't really matter. The Stony Batter Festival was on, yeah? And the whole roads are packed over there.
The street was closed. You couldn't drive down.
No, you couldn't drive up or down it. Roads are packed over. Everybody's out on the road drinking. All the pubs are full. Little now. And I don't know, I think we had a podcast that day or something like that. But that evening then I was with 2 or 3 of the boys. And we said, fuck it, we'll get out and we'll have the pubs and whatever and got a blame point. So we went into one of the pubs, says, "What story, pal, can we get? 3, whatever." And he just goes, "Yeah, no, not tonight, boys." No. We were like, what's going on here? Now I live 2 minutes away from this place, yeah? And I was like, "What story here?" And I goes, "Why?" And he goes, "Lads, not tonight, is Adam getting served?" And we were like, what's the story with him, like? So we bounced, crossed over to the other side of the road into the other pub just on the corner. Now there's hundreds of people on the roads packed over. And there was a fella walking around and I thought he was taking orders, which he was actually. And I said, "So mate, what's the story?" And I goes, "Any chance you can get me Heineken 0 and 2 whatever?" And he goes, "Yeah," he goes, "I don't think I'm going to be allowed to serve you as boys, but give me 2 minutes." So we went into the pub and then some bloke comes out in a suit up to the 4 of us or whatever, and he goes, "Yeah, lads, he's getting served. Move on, right?" And I went, "What do you mean? Like, what did we do wrong?" And he's like, "Dress code." I said, "Mate, we're out on the road. We're at the asking for takeaway cups. Now we're in shorts. We were in shorts and a halves, yeah, but there's so much day, like, you know what I mean? And everyone out on the road is in shorts and t-shirts and everything else." And I was like, "What? Dress code?" And I said, "Mate, we're getting them in takeaway cups. Like, we leaving cross the road. No, lads, you aren't getting served. End of story. Move on." What the fuck? So he says, "We'll go to another place." The hat-trick. Didn't even get to the smoking area. You have to go through the smoking area in the doors of this pub. Walk in. As we're walking up towards the security guard in the corner, "Lads. What's going on here?" "Don't. Go on. Turn off." I says, "What the fuck is going on?" Then one of the boys had an argument with him. Well, not an argument. He was like, "Why aren't you serving?" I was like, "No, trying to get an answer." And he's like, "You just aren't getting served." And that's the end of
Because
it.
it's frustrating, though.
For no reason, 3 pubs in a row. Where we're from, this is Dublin 7. Like, we're all from Dublin 7. Not bad from anywhere, no trouble at all. And the nice lads that I was with, I'm not going to say any of their names or that, but my brother was one of them. And then the other lads, and we're all, like, we don't go out looking for trouble. We don't cause trouble. I don't fucking drink. Do you know what I mean? But you're still getting the same amount of money on me for non-alcoholic anyways. So, like, there was no trouble or that. We just, 3 places just wouldn't serve us. One of them says dress code and everyone's out on the road with takeaway cups. So we were all saying, like, that's, I don't. But then you were saying last night.
The spot we were going to, right, one of the lads goes, "Go to this place, won't say the name, but I know the bouncer." And I was like, "We never got in there. Like, every time I went up there, I've always got refused." And he goes, no, the bouncer." So we go up and he does know the bouncer. He comes out, says hello, we got a table, but you're sitting outside on the street. And we were like, "Any chance we can move, not even inside, just over the other side of the barrier, closer to the pub?" And he goes, "If a table comes available," he says, "I'll give you a shout." So the 3 of us were sitting there for about half an hour. And then we seen someone we knew who was sitting at a table and they wanted to swap for us. They wanted to sit outside. So we're like, "Oh, grand." So we gave the bouncer a shout and was like, "Them lads now want to swap for us. Is that all right?" And the bouncer comes up and he goes, "Lads, you got me in trouble. You're going to have to go." And we're like, what do you mean? He goes, "The boss isn't happy." And with that, this fella pops his head over the shoulder and goes, "I'm the boss around here. I call the shots. That's just the last drink and you're gone." And I thought it was a wind-up. I was like, what's that happening here? And with that, your man legged it. And the bouncer was like, "You're going to have to go after that drink." And I was like, this isn't real. Like, I was like, this is a wind-up. So we stayed. I goes, "I'm not leaving." I goes, "I don't know who that fella was." I goes, "I'm not leaving." And the bouncer come over and he goes, "Look, that was the boss. Like, nothing I could do about that." I goes, "Right, it's grand." So we stayed probably about for another half an hour. And then the boss came back and he goes, I told you that was the last drink. The bouncer took the drinks off the table and that was it. We had to go. Like, I mean, we caused no hassle with anybody. We weren't even interacting with people. We were actually looking at people walking by us, falling up and down the road in a gioca. And, like, the people who were going in were in an awful state. Like, clearly had too many. And we were sitting there. The boys got a couple of rounds of drinks in. Like, you were spending money, not causing any hassle with anyone, barely interacting with other people. The only people we really interacted with was the fellas that we seen and wanted to swap the tables.
Yeah.
And then owner comes out and goes, yeah, not a chance, out.
It's like he must have only copped.
Yeah, like, what are you at to doing? You let them in here, out.
Like, it's
Makes no fucking sense, does it? But
it's like you see umpires that dress like us or talk like us or something like that, and they're just like, no, that's trouble.
put two and two together.
It's classism. I don't give a bollocks. There's nobody that can tell me difference. Like, if you wear a bleeding half zip and a pair of Nike shorts, you're refused from places. It's a fucking hot summer's day. I don't like wearing cargo shorts or denim shorts. I shouldn't have to wear them to just have a point outdoors somewhere. Do you know what I mean? If you rock up in an Under Armour top and shorts, no, not tonight. Do you know what I mean? It's a bleeding joke.
Yeah, but especially if you're outdoors. I understand if you're going in.
Yeah,
if,
but
like,
no,
you can't come in and that,
Say
yeah.
weeks, but outside,
Yeah.
just leave you to it. Like,
Yeah.
if they're trouble, then fuck you off. But
Yeah.
let you in
Well, like,
anyway.
do you ever just walk up to a bouncer and they're like, all right, lads. And they're like, all right, mate. No. All right.
yeah.
They just, because they have the power to say no, they do it.
Yeah,
that's it.
it's a power trip, definitely. Yeah,
Yeah, I think it's classism as well, to be honest with you.
it's a bleeding joke, it is, boys. But here we are, alive and well in 2022. Anyway.
Yeah.
Any other suggestions?
No, that's it. That's all. €9 points and discrimination.
And
To get that off my
fucking
chest.
fizzy cola tato. Sort that out, boys. But anyways, Keith, what we do with every guest, you want to take us back to the start, where you're from, what life was like growing up, and
Yeah. I grew up in the flats in Sherry Street. Normal enough upbringing, like, grew up in the flats as well. You was around, like, not Sheriff flats, but the flats. Normal. Like, I just remember from minute one, like, having a football in my hand. I didn't really have too many friends. Like, I just always had a football in my hand. Don't really, like, remember they used to tie a horse up out the back of the flats and I used to run around like nutmegging that, thinking I was fucking brilliant, like, from an early age. But yeah, just like little random memories of me dad bringing me to Lansdowne Road, standing on hill, sitting on his shoulders in the behind the goal, we playing somebody and just seeing like the men and all jumping around, you know, being just like the football having their attention, like just staring at them and thinking, this is what I want to do. I want to fucking do this. And from then on, my life was just fucking football, and yeah, fucked off over to England like permanently at 15, but I was nearly over there, you know, 4 days out of the week from the age of 12. Like,
did you go to school in town?
I went to O'Connell's, yeah, I went to O'Connell's, but like I got, when I started third year, there was people from the bleeding, I don't know, from the government, like, knocking on the door saying, Keith has missed too much school, blah, blah, that they're missing so many amount of days. But I was just in England doing trials, and like there was 16 clubs out of the Premier League were asking me to go on trial. There was a couple from Scotland, Celtic and Rangers from Scotland. And I nearly signed for Celtic, and like there was clubs like Birmingham sent me a fax to go over on trial, and I just sent back like, I can't go. There's other clubs. Birmingham's not really somebody I see myself playing for. Sent back a contract, like thinking, oh yeah, I'll sign the contract, but I won't go on trial. It was just fucking mad.
So you
shit.
didn't do a trial for them when they sent you a contract?
Yeah. Because there was that many trials coming in, and because Belleville I played for Belleville.
That's what I was going to ask there. What schoolboy team did you play for?
Yeah, I was with Belleville, but they had like sort of not an alliance, but like sort of a little bit of an alliance with
feeder club kind of
Millwall,
thing?
and Sunderland. So we sort of had to go to Millwall and Sunderland just to pat Belleville's back type of thing. So I did that, and then Blackburn was great. I loved Damien Duff, so I wanted to be him. And like when he was at Blackburn, I was like, right, I'll go to Blackburn. Literally, as I signed, he fucked off to Chelsea for like, what was it, 17, 18 million. So it was good. It was good upbringing. Like I went to Blackburn because it was like Emmerdale Farm. Like, my ma came over, had a look at it, and she said, like, you won't get in trouble here, so we fuck you here, because it's a bit of a hyper fucker, like, so.
Yeah.
You were saying, I know I had to jump into the football, but before we got on, you were talking about school and when you got suspended that time.
Yeah, but school was grand for me, because like I wasn't a particularly bold child. I was more like, I'd sit in the corner and go to sleep. I just wouldn't fucking pay attention to anybody. And you know, you have like the tiers. It was OCS, like, for the O'Connell's initial. So I was in the S class, which was the bottom class. So I just went in there and fell asleep. But every now and then on the yard, I'd act the bollocks. And I remember throwing a coin, and they suspended me. And like, I think the principal suspended me. The next day, got a knock on the door. Like, what's the story? Can Keith come and play in this match? And my mum was like, you suspended? Oh, no, we lift the suspension, we lift it. So they lifted it, I went and played and went back to school. So
Politics at that blade.
man, it gets worse. You'll see it gets, as you go up the ladder, it just gets worse. The better you get at football, the more you get away with in life. And you know, it wasn't good. Like it probably sent me some bad fucking habits in on me. But
Yeah,
you know,
do you reckon
live and learn.
you didn't really pay attention to skill because you knew you were going to be a footballer?
Yeah, well, Celtic offered me a contract at 13. Celtic, because there's no the YTS is in England. But
Yeah.
that's like a training thing, so you only get like a couple of hundred. I was on £90 a week at Blackburn. Celtic at 13 offered me £300 a week because you're just a professional straight away in Scotland. There's no YTS system.
At 14.
At 13, and like that would have been more than what my outfit was getting. So I didn't go anyway. I remember I was sitting in Parkhead ready to sign, and the contract was in front of me, and I wanted to stay in a certain digs with the Irish lads. It was Darden O'D and a couple of others. And they said to me, oh no, the fella's getting released in 6 months, so you move into that house in 6 months. And I was quite shy and in myself, so I looked at my ma, I was like, listen, I'm not happy, I want to be in with the Irish lads. So my ma pulled the plug thinking Celtic will arrange it and we'll go back. But then Blackburn said, we'll give you 120 a week and we'll do this, and you like link up closely with Duffer, you know, sort of gave me a bit of a spiel, and I went to Blackburn instead. But
So you're saying at 13 you're getting off of these like contracts, yeah, and you're not signing them or whatever. Are you coming back to Dublin? Because you didn't go out till you were 15, yeah? So you coming back to Dublin being like, I don't give a bollocks for anyone. People are trying to tell me what to do. No one can tell me what to do. Like, I'm bleeding getting offers left, right and centre here. It's only a matter of time before I'm gone.
yeah, well, like from an early age, like you have to imagine there was scouts coming to my house in Sherry Street, like knocking on the door, sitting down and saying, he's going to be the next Damien Duff, he's going to have this, like start looking for houses out in Bray. I mean, my and dad, like, they didn't know how to deal with it, so they were thinking, he's going to be a millionaire, like we're sorted for life, and you sort of buy into it yourself. But yeah, like I didn't stay as level-headed as I should have. But like I said, I wasn't a bowl child. Like just go in and like they'd be like, Keith, you need to listen to this, and they're going, fuck off, like I'm going to be a footballer, who cares? Like, so I wouldn't like act the bollocks, but I just sit there not paying attention and fall asleep and like just wait for the matches to roll around.
Yeah, did you ever go on trial for any of the like top 4 clubs in England?
I went to United, yeah. I went to Arsenal. I didn't go to Liverpool. That's fucking that long ago. And
How did you follow growing up as a kid?
I followed Liverpool, but I sort of followed Liverpool because my dad followed Liverpool,
Yeah.
and then it was at the same time that Gerard Houllier took over Liverpool. You know, it was fucking horrible to watch. It was boring. And then I was watching Arsenal with Wenger, you know, Bergkamp, Henry, all that. So I was like, fuck this, I'm an Arsenal fan now.
Yeah.
So I was Liverpool to start with, but from the age of like 8 or 9, I switched to Arsenal just because of the fucking players they had. But the weird story about United is I went on trial to United, and I came back, and it was the weirdest thing. I was walking through the corridor, like say from here to there, and as I was walking, the fella knew I was behind him, but he didn't hold the door for me. And I just like, I remember thinking they wouldn't do that in Blackburn. It was like, this is Manchester United, you should be privileged to be here.
Yeah.
Whereas Blackburn were like, we're fucking privileged to have you here, son. We love you, we think you're great. United were just like, whatever, you're just a fish in the pond. And I came back, and I didn't think they'd say that, but they said another thing saying, will you come on trial again? So I said no. Carlos Quiros rang the gaff, asking if I personally asked if I come on trial again. I said no. And like it was
That's
mad, just
blatant,
fucking.
man.
It was at the remember when you had house phones? The house phone ringing like it's Carlos Quiros, and you're thinking like, fuck off, who's this? Like, but it's actually fucking Carlos Quiros, like.
So what old are you when all this? Yes, this is all still before you turn 15, like.
Yeah, just like 13, maybe 14, just turning 15, yeah.
That's madness. And how many is in your family then, Keith? Are you the oldest?
No, I'm the middle one. I have my older brother Martin, then there's me, then Graham, then Nikita, Megan. So 2 girls, 2 boys.
So like just chaos in the gaff and then bleeding.
Yeah.
United are ringing the phone trying to sign you.
Carlos Quiros, yeah.
Yeah, well, I think that my mum was probably just happy to get rid of one of child, like say, fuck off over a trial a week, like get one of them out of the gaff, like. So yeah, that was grand. It was mad times, but it was all normal, like for me. 'Cause
Yeah.
I think we didn't know.
That's all
anything.
you knew,
That's all I
yeah.
knew.
You obviously would have been. So if you're getting tapped up at that age, yeah, you would have been one of the best fucking underage in Ireland at the
Yeah,
time.
well-
You had to be 1 or 2 in the country then at that stage.
Yeah, well, like, it's probably not for me to say. It's probably for somebody else to say. But people have said there was, you know, Stokes, Anthony Stokes, saying
Yeah.
it was me and him at that age level that were like fighting out to be the best players. But yeah, it was mad. I played for Ireland at every level as well, from 15s up to the first team, and I played in every professional league in England as well. So it was a fucking crazy journey. But looking back, it's weird because I feel like I had the talent to do a lot more, but mentally I was just fucking lacking. Like,
Yeah, we haven't even got into it yet. If I'm not looking back.
Not even nearly, yeah. Yeah, so Blackburn is obviously who you signed for then. Talk to us about your time there and stuff.
What's so you signed the contract for Blackburn, yeah? What's the first day like over there?
the first day was mad. It was in around this time. It was the start of July. I couldn't even tell you what year. Like I'm gonna be shite with dates because like I abused the gargle for years, so me head's a bit bleeding fuzzy with dates. But yeah, I remember flying over. I got there and there's like a digs with I think there's 16 rooms, so 2 in a room, 32 players. And I met this fella from Blackburn called Frankie Fielding, and he said, "Keith, that's your room, mate." And he was from Blackburn, so he was grand. Like he was a bit chatty, so he like break the ice because I was real fucking shy like in myself. But yeah, the first day I met him, I remember I had the Usher album. Remember Usher fucking 90210? I had that bleeding album, and I just remember turning me back to Frankie like and just crying for a while. And I'd done that for about 6 months, just fucking cried myself to sleep listening to me Walkman. But like people always said to me, would you not come home? I was like, no, because I knew. Like I was crying because I wanted to be at home, but I knew I wasn't fucking going home.
Yeah.
So although I was crying, I still had the vision of, no, I'm going to be a footballer, but I'm just sad at the minute. Like it was homesick, but I was dealing with it. Like
Who was the manager who signed you?
Graham Souness. Graham Souness was the first manager. It was bleeding. I remember the family, when you're signing, the family come over. I brought me man and dad over. My dad's a big Liverpool fan, so he was like, fucking Graham Souness. I'm going to meet Graham Souness. He came down the bleeding hall with like one of them big bleeding things on. He had gout. So he like comes rocking down the hall. He's like, all right, Keith. He shook me hand. He said, it's great to have another hard paddy in the club. I just looked at me dad like he hasn't seen me play, like because I was a winger like that, fucking go diving like as soon as you touch me. But he was like, oh, not a hard paddy. I was like, fucking hell.
You're an pretty shock.
Yeah, but even then he fucked off to Newcastle about a month later as well. So all like I signed because of Duff, I signed because of fucking Souness, and everybody was out of the club like in 2 or 3 months. So yeah, you learned like you don't have a lot of relationships.
Who took over from Souness then?
Mark Hughes.
Yeah.
Sparky got the job. Yeah.
Replacement then as well. Tell me when you're that young, like, you know what I mean? What were they like? What was Souness and you was like?
See, I didn't have a lot of dealings with Souness. So I trained under him. I would have been 15. With the
Are you training first team?
Yeah, I got there, and because I was so young, I didn't have UEFA clearance, so I wasn't actually allowed to play for the under-18s. So Blackburn were saying, listen, we'll just bring you over, and if you get homesick, you can go back, like sort of a transition period. But I was training with the under-18s, and they were playing in the Youth Cup, so I couldn't train with them. And they were literally going like, where's the reserves? Where's the 9th? What can we do? Fuck them down to the first team. So I just trained with the first team. And I remember Souness, Andy Todd, like Brad Friedel, Damien Duff. And just like at 15, like I don't want to come across as big head, but I didn't really feel out of place. And later in my career, I remember thinking like, oh well, if I'm all right here now, what am I going to be like at 22? And like my foot started coming off the pedal straight away, rather than thinking if I'm already at a certain level, I could be
get better.
Great. Rather than I took it off and regrets. But Blackburn was a good time. And yeah, Souness, he was a tough man, but he was one of them. Like I think fear was a good motivator for me. So when the managers I was afraid of, I always played the best for. And Souness and Mark Hughes probably fell into that category.
Yeah.
Mark Hughes gave you a Premier League debut, did he?
No, it was Paul Ince. I played for the first team under Mark Hughes at, I think I was 16, but it was like a pre-season friendly against somebody, and he never really trusted me defensively. He always said, no, I think you're great going forward, but your arse is always out the window defensively. That's what he used to say to me. And Paul Ince, I can't remember, there was a couple of years and then Paul Ince got the job, and it was literally first game of the season, everything away. We were losing 1-0 with 20 minutes to go, and he turns, he's like, Keith, you're on.
Did you get a fly?
I did, because I thought you meant Keith Andrews behind me. But fucking me. It means bleeding me. But yeah, no, I went on, and there was like a diag getting played, and Phil Neville came and he bleeding smashed me, but the ball ran through to our left winger, the left back, and he crossed it and we scored. So I sort of dummied it, and they were like, oh, well done, Keith. I didn't know, I just got smashed in the build-up. But everybody's like, well done. So like, yeah, here we go. Like, and 11 games later, that was the fucking end of it. Like, but yeah, no, Ince gave me my debut. Yeah.
Well, you played against United as well, didn't you?
Yeah.
And you smashed Ronaldo.
I did. I left a bit on him, but I didn't fucking smash him. Like,
Is that true?
Yeah.
That's like folklore around town.
Stop.
Honestly, like, no matter what, anytime anyone ever mentions your name, remember he smashed Ronaldo? That's all you ever used
That's
to
a
hear.
great thing to have down the locker, isn't it?
Yeah, but
I
it's-
smashed Ronaldo.
I remember,
Yeah.
like, it was fucking raining in Ewood, and like he was from here to there the way, and I looked at him, and I remember everybody, like the left back Mickey Gray, being real afraid of him, and everybody like, oh fucking Ronaldo. And I remember looking at him, he had the ball, and I said, right, come on, I'll show you the wing, like let's have a race, you cunt, because I was fast at the time, but my Jesus, like he just fucking left me for dead. Like I put my arm out to like feel him, and it was just like touching brick, like, and he just, I felt him going and going, I just fucking pushed him, and Alex Ferguson jumps up like, you little cunt. 6 months later, I was playing for his son at Preston, like it was just, it's mad life. Like.
That's a mad old story, isn't it?
So all this is happening really fast, Keith. Obviously, your Blackburn career must have played skyrocketed, yeah? Is everyone just being like yes men around you? Like,
Yeah, like I think by the age of 17, 18, I was after whatever contract I was after getting. I don't know whether it was my second professional or third professional contract, but I bought an apartment and I bought a Range Rover. And the Range Rover didn't even have a license. I just text somebody I want a Range Rover. Turned up the next day, got me apartment. And like the apartment, the only thing that Blackburn said was buy the apartment. Like the training ground is in a place called Brockhall Village, like a gated community. So my apartment was in there, in where the training ground is. And like at 17, I think I was on $2.5 grand a week. I got a 50 grand signing on bonus.
Like
Fucking
that.
danger
Mental,
zone,
man.
innit? Like it's
And how, like you said, that was a second or third professional contract. How frequent would you get contracts?
well, the first one I signed when I went over at 15 was a 3-year deal, but like literally after the first time I trained with the first team, they were like, fucking give him another one because somebody will come in and nick him or whatever. So I got I jumped up to £800 a week, and then it was Allardyce had a look at me, and he was like, listen, we're going to sort you out, we're going to put you on a decent Premier League fucking thing. And he came in with like $2.5 grand. I was thinking it was like, here we go, 50 bags a week, like $2.5 grand a week. But it was I was on. If we won the game of football, the bonus was $3 grand. It was £1 a point, the bonus. So if we won the game of football, I'd actually earn more money than I had my salary. Like.
That's bleeding mental, that, like, because you always heard of these mad little bonuses and all for footballers. Like there's
Make so many
appearance
appearances,
bonuses,
yeah.
and there's all this carry on. There's like people think you're on, like, say the big players, like 50 grand a week. But there's goal bonuses and clean sheet bonuses.
Yeah.
And there's all this carry on. It's mental.
I heard that
the
you
way-
get you obviously get a bonus if you play, but then you can get a bonus if you don't play as well. So no matter what, you're gonna get a bonus in the
Yeah,
game.
well, you get even if you draw, lose, win, you get a bonus. You get an appearance bonus. I had an appearance bonus at Barnsley, but it was only after the before the 75th minute. So if I came on in the 80th minute, I didn't get paid. So I had to come on before the 75th minute. And you want to see it, if you look through live score or whatever, the amount of times I came on in like the 76th,
No
79th. They know what they're doing. Like, clubs aren't stupid. They'll sit there and go, we bring Keith on.
But that's up
60th
to the
minute, hold
manager,
on.
isn't it, though, as well? Because what's your man's name who did that James English podcast?
Yeah, he played for
Billy-
Everton.
Billy something. I can't remember his name, but I listened to that podcast.
Scouse fella played for Everton, yeah.
And a brilliant podcast, by the way. But in it, he was saying that he was injured, but he was on the bench, and he was saying, look, I can't fucking play this game and whatever. And then it came to about the 90th minute. I forget who the manager was or Everton, but he brought him on. He's like, I can't, my leg is fucked. We ended up bringing him on, and then after the game, the manager threw his arm around his shoulder and he says, that was your so-and-so appearance. Now you have to get this amount of money. An extra, say, 30, 50 grand or something. on top of
Yeah,
his
he
joke,
got,
mate.
and a lump as well.
And he was
40
like,
lump sum.
oh, we
Fair
didn't
play,
even,
yeah.
he said he didn't even know at the time because he had a bad problem with the alcohol as well.
Yeah.
So he didn't even realise that's where it was over, but he threw him on, and then he was like, fair play to him for doing that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, fair play.
So you think that the managers would just be like, throw him on the 74th minute there?
Yeah.
It's not their money.
Yeah.
But so, you said at 17 you had a Range Rover, no licence. Are you drinking at that age, Keith? Or
Yeah, I would have been drinking like probably the back end of 16. I had my first couple of points was me going away party like at 14, 15. I had a couple of points in Fairview Park, and I fucked off over. Just got my head down for the first couple of months, but then like I started getting comfortable with my roommate Frankie. There was a couple of Scottish boys that I got friendly with, and soon enough there's a fucking drinking school like, and I don't know what it was. Like all the lads would walk into the English pubs and he wouldn't get served, but in Ireland, like I'd walk in and go, "There's a pint," and he'd give it to me. At bleeding 16, it was weird, like, but yeah, no, I used to, but like it wasn't a big thing. It was like probably once a week, probably once every 2 weeks. It wouldn't be a big thing, like
That's how
one
it all
blowout.
starts, though, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. But at the time, there was no alarm bells, like, because I was still working hard at the football.
yeah, and
having
you're
a little
young as
blowout,
well.
yeah,
fair enough.
like-
And are you going out, like going around out into the town like the dogs bollocks?
yeah, well, Blackburn, like I said, where I lived in Brockhall Village, it was like fucking Emmerdale Farm. So it was like a 20-minute drive to Blackburn to get into the city centre. And yeah, we were in there most nights. Well, I was in there most nights towards the end because I ended up in a fucking weird place where I was too good for the reserves, but not quite good enough for the first team. So I was in like, right, you're on the bench for the first team, don't play with the reserves in case you're playing for the first team. So I was in that limbo of not playing. So I just ended up on the fucking sauce, like.
Yeah.
And you're like I say, you're in this limbo. So like nobody ever really. He doesn't look right.
Yeah.
I wasn't fucking playing. I was just travelling everywhere.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got away with it for a long time. Like.
Yeah. You know, you signed the YTS initially, yeah?
Yeah.
Do you have to go to school then?
Yeah, at Blackburn, I was supposed to do 2 days a week in a place called Moyerscove College. A full day Monday, no, half day Monday and a full day Wednesday. But like I said, I remember, like I think I didn't do the course. It was some sort of bleeding bollocksy course I was supposed to do. But I never turned up. I never did it. I would end up training with the reserves in the first team, playing for the reserves in the first team. So they just like keep you scrap college. And Blackburn, I think, got fined $2.5 grand. You know, absolute peanuts. Like, so the human being they didn't give a fuck about, because at the time everybody's like, well, he's going to be a footballer, he's going to have millions. Like, who gives a fuck if he has an education? So yeah, it was.
It defeats the purpose of a YTS then, doesn't it? Really?
Exactly. Yeah. But like I said, everything was coming so quick. I think it took a little bit, like even the people in Blackburn by surprise. Like, oh well, fuck, if he's better off training with the first team than learning some shite in college. Like that was always what they thought. And obviously the human being was getting left behind, but the fucking footballer was thriving. Like,
yeah.
Did you enjoy your time at Blackburn?
I loved it. Yeah, it was a bit tarnished towards the end, but that was my own fault. Like, I spent fucking 6 years there, and I got on with all the managers, got on with most of the players. The receptionist looked after me. I did really enjoy it, but towards the end, I got like, that was my own fault. I crashed my car with no license, and Allardyce fucking had enough of me. Wouldn't even talk to me. Like,
Who got you the car? How do you?
that was my agent. I won't mention an Irish bloke, but I won't mention him. But it was a bit of a fucking, you know, like I say again, it was just yes man. Like, nobody had the bollocks to say you're not fucking getting that. Like, they were just sort of giving me what I wanted. But had he not have given it to me, I'm sure there would have been an agent around the corner that said, "I'll fucking get it for you."
Yeah.
You know, I would have moved on probably. So it was a rock and a hard place for other people as well. Like,
So come here, Allardyce comes in, he's a no nonsense type of fella.
yeah.
And he just have no time for you, like if you were acting the bollocks.
Weirdly enough, he fucking loved me as a person. Like, we'd have a bit of crack, and like he was big on nights out, but he'd bring families. Like, he said, get your missus, come out, we'll do this, and his missus, and everybody go out, like a big team bonding. He was a nice bloke, but I remember like the falling out I had with him. We went to Austria for pre-season, and we were fucking running like lunatics. But he brought this fucking like a psychiatrist with him for the players, you know, to unload on, like whatever you're giving out about. But nobody would talk to him, because everybody knew, well, whatever I say to him, he's going to go back to Allardyce, because he's employed by fucking Allardyce. So your man was like, nobody's talking to me, gaffer. So he's like, well, one of the young kids fucking better talk to you. Dickhead here has to talk to him, doesn't he? So I had a chat with him. He's like, look, why do you not feel you're in the team? Blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, listen, Martin's playing ahead of me, a fella called Martin against Pedersen.
A fella called him. Is it no big deal, yeah?
Yeah, left peg like I want the thing had.
But previous to that, me and Allardyce had it out, and Allardyce gave a reason that Martin had a long throw. Like, well, if you get a fucking throw in, Martin put it into the box from anywhere. And I was like, is that what gets you into a Premier League team?
Yeah.
So I unloaded that onto the psychiatrist, saying, like, I can't believe he's saying Martin is ahead of me because of a long throw. I said, oh, well, blah, blah, blah. 2 days later, flew back to Manchester, like, ready to start the season. Next morning, come in, Keith, you're going on loan to Sheffield United.
So you think he ratted you
Had
out?
to be a snake in the camp, because I was literally the number 2 left winger.
Yeah.
And like, at what, 19, 20 on the bench in the Premier League, coming on every now and then, I was happy enough where I was, like, in my career. And they were like, nah, you're out, Sheffield United. And I remember sitting in the office and saying to Allardyce, no, I don't want to go. He said, you haven't got a choice, son. Like, real, just cut through, you haven't got a choice. And I think he was big mates with Kevin Blackwell, the manager of Sheffield United at the time. So, but when I went, I actually loved it, because Blackburn were getting like 16, 17,000 in the Premier League, because they didn't have like a big fan base.
Yeah.
And then I went to fucking Sheffield United. We're playing fucking Port Vale in the cup. There's 35,000 there bouncing, like, mental. Like, that was a proper fucking big club. So, although I was reluctant, I fucking loved them when I got there. Like,
Yeah.
It's a bit of a blatant harsh ending though, isn't it? Like, and like I say, if you're putting 2 and 2 together, like, you'd probably look and say that blatant.
but that was only the loan. I fucked it up myself. Like, when he actually got rid of me out of the club, that was my own fault. I fucked up the loan. I'm on loan at Sheffield United at this time, and I was at that. I think we played 20 games that season in the Championship, and I played 17 or 18 of them, and I'd scored against Leicester. I had a couple of assists. I was doing okay, and we were playing Plymouth away, and we're training on the Friday about to drive down, and I'd missed a couple of days in training because of a lower back injury. And Blackwell comes out. He's like, Keith, we're not going to bother with you travelling down to Plymouth. It's a long way. Don't want you sitting on a coach. We have a game on Tuesday at home. You're in for that. So I say, yeah, no problem. I understand. Don't want me on the coach. No problem. So the assistant manager, Sam Ellis, shouts, everybody who's not playing on the line. So he's not talking about me. Like, I've played most of the games this season. He's like, I am talking about you, son. Over you come. I was like, nah, not happening. Like, just a bit of a diva, but I was like, if my back is sore and you don't want me to sit on a bus.
You're not fit enough to sit on a couch.
This is what I was saying. But he's like, right, on the line. I just kept saying no. He said, listen, if you don't want to do it, get your bag, get your boots and fuck off. But thinking back, it was probably a throwaway comment, you know, just a bit of a threat.
Yeah.
But I went and got my boots and fucked off, like, and went back to Blackburn. And I turned up the next day. Allardyce walked in. He hadn't a fucking clue, like, what happened. I had to relay the whole thing to him, and yeah, so
that went down well, did it?
not really. Like I said, he was good mates with Blackwell, so they were sort of fucking having a little bitch about me. And then I had no license on. It was Boxing Day over there, and we were training at Ewood Park. Bear in mind, he's already pissed off because of what I've done with Sheffield United. I crashed my car. Police come, impound the car, and blah blah blah. I get a taxi to training. By the time I get there, the police have already fucking spoke to Allardyce. Keith's been in a car accident, blah blah blah. So I get there a little bit late. The lads are on the pitch training. I've had to walk around them and come into the changing room, start getting ready for training. And Dr. Batty walks in. He's like, Keith, you've been sacked. The gaffer doesn't want to talk. You just get your stuff and fuck off. So I played it like, what were you talking about? He's like, the police have been on the phone, son. There's no point. Like, so I didn't even speak to Allardyce. I just left. I went home to Dublin. Yeah, like I say, Boxing Day. And the end of January, Preston rang and asked if I want to come to them. But Blackburn tried to sack me, but my agent rang me a couple of weeks in as I was over here and said, like, they can't sack you. We've been through your contract. We can't sack you. So Allardyce said, just stay in Dublin and they'll pay you. He doesn't want you back. So
I was going to say, it's a bit blatant harsh to be able to just sack you. Like,
Yeah.
regardless. Like,
What are you, about 20? 19?
2021 at that time, yeah. So. But like I say, I think it was a lot of things, the Sheffield United thing, and probably saying, like, what's he fucking talking about with Martin, and like about the long
Did
throw.
you think you had a bit of an ego, Keith? Like, do you think, like, I'm better than all these here, especially at Sheffield United, and you're like, I'm probably too good to be playing for you. So the cheeky you to tell me to get me boots and fuck off.
No, it wasn't an ego thing, because there was, like, Gary Speed was part of that Sheffield United team, so there was some proper players in it. Like, I didn't look down my nose at them, because I played my first game in the Championship against Middlesbrough for them. And I remember thinking, this is a fucking decent standard. There's some decent players here, and like, there's very little respect in that league. Like, you know, Ronaldo gets the ball, people drop 3 or 4 yards off him.
Yeah.
Don't get that in the Championship. You just fucking go, like, bang, bang, bang. And yeah, no, I a lot of respect, but like, when you're having a chat with the manager and he's saying, like, you're not travelling because you're back, and, you know, blah blah, great. And then the other fella shouting, come over here and run. You're thinking, well, he's saying one thing, you're saying another. And like, you're always, like, there's always players in your ear saying, you need to stand up for yourself. You need to be a bit stronger. So I probably chose the wrong time to do it. I should have done the running and then went to him after and said, Sam, what the fuck am I running for? Like, yeah, so I think it probably was, like, football, I did develop into a very big ego, and it was sort of probably a shield, like, to have a bit of an ego, because there's so much noise around you at the time. You develop this thick skin and a bit of a personality that's not even really me. It was just something that I became, and when you're drinking so much, people start to expect it of you. And you sort of just roll into this character, and you're thinking, how the fuck have I got here? But this is what I am and who I am now, and it was just fucking weird.
yeah, so Preston give it a call then in January, did you say?
Yeah, the end of January, Darren Ferguson, like I said, bleeding Alex Ferguson's son, Darren rang me. So, like, do you want to come over? I understand your situation at Blackburn and blah blah. So I flew over, done the medical, failed the fucking medical.
On what?
Me back, I had the. I bent over in front of the physio, and my back apparently was fucking lopsided. He was like, oh, Jesus. So we had to go from Preston to Manchester to get an MRI scan. As we're on the way from Preston to Manchester, you remember Two Guy, the centre midfielder for Blackburn. Me and this physio, I've only just met like an hour ago to do this fucking medical, are sitting in the car on the way to Manchester. 2 guys flying down the motorway in a bleeding Range Rover, looks and like lowers down his window. He's like, Keith, Toogs, what's up? Where are you going? I said, I'm on the way to do a medical. Oh, brilliant, man. Who are you going to? Preston. Oh, they're shy. I'm left like in the car for the next 45 minutes with this physio. Like, oh, for fuck's sake. Yeah, but no, I failed the medical on me back, and I remember we went to Manchester, done the MRI scan, travelled back to Preston. I'm in the stadium with my agent, and the deadline was at 5 o'clock. And it's like got 4:30, 20 to 5, and I'm thinking I'm going to end up back in Dublin on the piss here, like. And Fergie walks through the door. He said, "Listen, you failed your medical. The contract that we were offering you was like a 4-year deal on decent whack." And he's like, "That's off the table. We've give you a 2.5-year deal on fucking shit money." And I was like, "Well, I'm not taking it." He said, "Well, if you don't want to take it, fuck off back to Dublin." And I took it.
Yeah.
Like, what could I do? Like, so,
No,
but
absolutely.
everything he said was right. He said, like, you've been at Blackburn 6 years, you played less than 20 competitive games in the Premiership. How can we throw all this money into you when you haven't proven you can do it?
So he made a valid point there.
Yeah, so I was like, I was on the back foot, but I just had to sort of take it. Like,
You were talking there about thinking about having a gaggle, so you starting to drink heavily then at this stage as well. Then.
yeah, by the time I went to Preston, I was fucking big time on it. But it was weird because me drinking as I signed for Preston was fucking out of control. But I started scoring goals and I started playing well and I got into the Irish team, and while me drinking was doing that, me football was doing exactly the same. So it was really masked how much I was drinking because, like I say, I was scoring goals and doing okay. So yeah, it was really getting a hold of me. But like I say, nobody could tell.
Do you think it helped you cope?
Yeah, like I said, I was running from a lot of fucking things with feelings and emotions and stuff I buried, even the homesickness. Like, win, lose or draw, like I knew I was going for a point, and I was even strategical in where I'd buy me houses or I'd rent a house. I rented a house in a place called Lytham, which was lovely and quiet, but it was only 20 minutes away from Blackpool, and there's fucking all-night casinos in Blackpool and all that. So although I was on the face of it, my manager's thinking, no, he's at getting a house in a nice quiet area.
Somewhere, yeah.
I'm thinking 20 minutes and I'm in fucking Blackpool here. So it was just fucking me head. I just wasn't wired up right in the start, but it just one thing after another just made me a little bit worse and worse.
Yeah, so would you say you're probably a functioning alcoholic at this stage? And you know, you heard of people who are able to grow up and go to do a job 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, but they're an alcoholic. You're out there bleeding, playing professional football.
Yeah, well, like I only said like I said, I was at a wedding on Thursday, and me mates, I was having a chat with my mates, and I remember like I was 17 with one of the Scottish lads, and I'm walking from my house down to the Blackburn training ground, 2.5 minute walk, and we brought 6 cans of Foster's with us at 8:30 in the morning, and we left them in the bush for the way back up to the gaff, like. And like I should have been thinking, like, I'm 17, I'm in a decent place, I can kick on here, but all I was thinking, like, how can I cheat the rules? How can I get pissed? And like, I want to do it, but I want to do it my way. It was just fucking, just not wired up properly at all. Like.
So this was at Preston. You signed the contract. That's in January. What's the rest of that season like then?
Well, we're right in the shit with like we're doing okay. When I first signed, we're doing okay, and I'm sort of in and out the team, dropping in and out, because Ross Wallace was there, a decent left winger, so I'm sort of in and out when he's coming off. But I scored a goal to keep us in the league.
This League One, is it?
No, this is the championship at the time, but we're in danger of being relegated to League One. We played Scunthorpe at home, and Sean St. Ledger actually gave a fucking horrible back pass, and we were in the shit, and I scored a goal in the 94th minute or something, and we were mathematically safe after that. But I had a double hernia all throughout the back end. The 6 months of that season, from January till the end of the season, I had a double hernia, so I needed an operation on it. And Fergie was obviously like, we're in a relegation, we can't like let you go and have surgery, we'll just give you painkillers. So I stopped training. Every like Saturday, Tuesday, like the championship is Saturday, Tuesday, I'd just be getting injections into my arse, into my hip, and like got to the point like where the physio would be coming in, he'd pulling down my trousers and going, oh, your left cheek has too many holes in it, we'll have to go to the right cheek. And like I say again, nobody really gave a fuck about the human being. It was only what can we do to get him out on the pitch. And now listen, my drinking was fucking out of control, so I wasn't helping myself at the time either, but there was certain things that the clubs did that they really had like.
We are so young there as well, Keith, that it'd be nice for someone to throw an arm around the shoulder and go, look, go and get that surgery, or stop bleeding, drinking here. Is everything all right here?
Even after, like I say, when I scored that goal against Scunthorpe, Darren Ferguson had me playing under the pretense that as soon as we're mathematically safe, you don't get your surgery.
Yeah.
So I scored that goal, went in to see him, like went out Saturday, Sunday, Monday went in to see him, and he's like, "Nah, no surgery for you, like till the end of the season." I was like, "But Gaffer, like I'm literally fucking from the waist down. I'm numb every single game. Like, I shit myself on a night out once. After that goal, I scored against Scunthorpe, and me and Sean St. Ledger went out that night, and I'm fucking knocking back like vodkas and Red Bulls, you know, Skittle bombs, the whole fucking shebang. But Ledge is introducing boards to me, like, "Come on over, Keith, like, bloody big student place. Girls are coming over. Oh, how you doing? This is Keith." So I'm, "Oh, how you doing?" Like, little hug and that. Not having a bar to me, like, all night. Like, and you know the Irish accent in England, usually you're all right. Like, not having a bar to me. Like, not fucking nothing. And I went in, so I need a piss. Went in, sat down in the toilet, like, just being lazy, put my trousers down. It's a big fucking shit in the middle of my trousers, like. So these boards are coming over, introducing themselves to me, and like a little hug, the waft of shit is hitting them straight in the face up me back, like. Fucking shat myself.
You didn't even realise that's how blood the injections.
Like, couldn't even feel it.
Like,
Mental. But yeah, it went on till the end of the season, like, and you're told, and no, we just need, it's the points. Then once we get the points, oh no, well, if every position we finish is like 500 grand, so then it becomes about the money again. And like I say, it doesn't matter how much pain I'm in. I want 2 or 3 places.
There's so much money involved in football. Then like you're nothing to them. It's all about where they can actually get, how much money they can bring into the club. Like you're literally just a number, really, aren't you?
Fucking cannon fodder. That's all. Yeah, just cannon fodder. But like I said, I'd love to be a bit like to know what I know now going into football, because I'd have been stronger. Even like at Blackburn, when I'd be picked for Ireland's 19s and 21s, because I was doing well at Blackburn and coming through the ranks, I'd have managers in my ear saying, "Don't go to Ireland, like, don't go." And I'd be like, "But I want to play for Ireland." That's growing up, I've always wanted to play for Ireland, but they try and put a dampener on it. They really do. They try and suppress it, and I ended up with 6 Ireland caps. I probably travelled to I probably got picked into about 30 squads, but I only was available to play 6 times, and half of them I would have been able to play. It's just Blackburn saying, "Oh no, your hamstring, oh, your groin," or even Preston, because I was important to Preston at the time because of the relegation battle. But I was never strong enough. But at 20 years old, and you've Darren Ferguson or Sam Allardyce telling you these things,
you listen.
You want to be a big boy to say, like, "No, actually, I'm doing this." It was tough, but yeah, you live and learn, don't you, as you get through these things.
yeah, it's a mad one. It's mad you were talking about your progression with the drinking was going up, but your performances was going up. You probably look back now and say, like, it was nearly balancing out. But if the drink wasn't going up so much, where could you have went to?
Yeah, but that's it. I do think about that sometimes, like, where could I have got to? But it fucks your head up. Like, I had a couple of years of therapy after all the drinking and all that shit, and I found I'm in a place now where I'm happy in my own skin, and I don't try and think about what if. It's more of, I try and flip it on its head, because it's a negative thought, and I try and turn positive instead. Well, I did play for Ireland. I should have had 50 caps, but I got 6, so fuck it. Like,
a lot of people don't get 6.
Yeah, I know. Like, you can't be too hard on yourself in this life. So although I was dealing with some issues, I should have done more, could have done more. I didn't, but I did what I could.
So see that there, right? That where you shit yourself there. Like, is that not a turning point for you, where you're like, I didn't even fucking know what the crap in my bags here. I can't feel that, and this is wrong.
Again, like, when you're a fucking alcoholic, like, you lie to yourself. So I'm telling myself, I only did that because of the injections. That was nothing to do with having too much to drink or drinking at the wrong times. I've only done that because the club are abusing me. Do you know what I mean? It was always somebody else's fault, or I'm doing this because of that, or that's happening because of this, or I was getting married, so I'll have a few points. It was always something. It was always someone to blame. It was never myself. And yeah, it wasn't until, like, fucking, I'm only 21 now in this scenario. Maybe, what did I finish? 28. I finished drinking, so. Like, it took me a long time to figure out, like, what the fuck was wrong with me and address what was going on.
Was it just drinking, or was there?
There was drinking, gambling, but, like, I did have a gambling addiction, but it was all relative. So, like, I was spending thousands, but, like, I still had dinner on the table. Do you know what I mean? I still had money to do whatever I wanted. So, although I was losing an awful lot of money, I wasn't losing me bollocks. So it wasn't a problem because
you weren't going
I had money there.
Like,
so. Yeah, there was even, like, the porn addiction as well. There was a big porn addiction. Like, I couldn't get on the laptop without whipping out a fucking, like, a porn page, and just, like, not even necessarily wanting to do that, just having a little surf around, like, and just mad, like just mad fucking shit that I was in a mold of like I treated women in a certain way. I had very little respect for women at the time, and like you have kids and you grow up and you have a wife now. It's you just mature, and he had like an awful lot of therapy to get all these issues out and work them out, and why I was doing what I was doing. Once you figure out why, I think you're starting to address the issue, and a couple of years later I'm a lot better.
And you've obviously found out why then, have you?
Yeah, well, it's a family thing, and I'd have no problem bringing it up myself, but there's a lot of people that would hear this and probably wouldn't be nice to hear on their ear. So although I've made peace with it and I've moved on, there's a lot of people out there that probably haven't, so
Yeah.
I can't really mention it.
Yeah, well, at least you know, like, you're not still fucking running from a demon. At least you
But
know
that's
you have
it,
to address it yourself, though.
But that, like, I have to say, my wife was brilliant. Had I not met my wife, I'd still been. I'd probably be dead, to be honest with you, because I had a couple of near scares in England with the drink, and my wife just stuck through me, and she eventually forced. Well, no, I say she forced. She always wanted me to get therapy. Always wanted me to speak to somebody, but I always had this notion of what people who get therapy, like, oh, there's something wrong with them, or that stigma that people have in their head. I had that. And eventually, I remember just having a bat in the gaff and my mind just snapping. Like, I was in the bat, but my mind was racing. I just couldn't relax. I couldn't switch off. I wanted to go to the pub. I wanted to do anything I could. I felt like I was missing out. Being with my family, I felt like I was missing out on being in the pub and doing whatever else I could do that night. So my mind just fucking snapped, and my wife came in and I was crying in the bat. And I said to her, like, I'm ready. I'll get help. And I spoke to a therapist for about 4 years and worked through some issues, and now I feel like I'm in a decent enough place that I can move on without her. But it's good to just have a number in my phone, for any sort of hiccups that come along the way, because like although I haven't had it'll be 5 years in November that I haven't had a drink. I wake up in the morning, I'm still a fucking alcoholic. Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to be cured any day. So every day is a fight, every day is a battle, and you just have to wake up, and I know why I'm doing it, because I wake up every morning with the kids jumping on me, like, do you know what I mean? And if I'm in a pub or I'm fucking off a weekend on benders, I don't get that. So but I just need to keep myself in a mental state that I make good decisions and not blow them,
So we literally only got to the start of your career, really. So 21, Preston, you finished your first half season with them.
Yeah.
You go into the summer then. Do you get the operation in the end?
I got the operation, yeah. I went and got the operation. I think, what did I do? Yeah, I got the operation, and there was big things expected of me for Preston that year, because I was after scoring the important goal. I had the year at Preston. We ended up getting relegated, but I think I scored 9 goals in 41 games or something, and I had 7 assists. So I done okay for a relegated team, like, and I was in and out got a couple of caps for the Irish team as well. So although Preston had been relegated, I was still sort of on an upward curve, and the drinking was still like, every time I played for Ireland, you want to see the drinking skill, like, and people are like, under Trapattoni, really? It's like, yeah, it was so fucking heavy, it was unbelievable, like. And
that's Marcus. I heard he took supposedly all the crack out of the Ireland camps. He was like, you're in bed at this time now. Like, didn't Andy Reid get fucked out of the squad for supposedly
but
playing
I think
the guitar?
that was more people said, because he was playing the fucking guitar. I think, like, Trapattoni didn't even like Wes Houlihan, and everybody knows how good of a player Wes was. I think it was just that Trapp was Italian, and he was set in a way that he played, and he didn't really like people in the hole, or people that float a bit like Andy Reid or Wes Houlihan. So I don't think it was anything personal in terms of playing the guitar. I think that was just one of them fucking rumours that got out.
Yeah.
Like, I've been in it, and I know for a fact that there was a very decent drinking skill. Like,
Was everyone at it in the squad? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, do you remember that Carling Cup of Nations in the Aviva when we played Scotland, Wales, and Ireland? I was in the squads for that, and we played Scotland and we won. So we had won the Carling Cup of Nations, and we went up to the players' lounge after, and we're sitting there drinking. And I won't name the lads, but the senior lads of the team turned around and they were like, listen, I've X amount of caps for Ireland. I've never won a thing. I'm going out tonight. So once the big hitters like okayed it, everybody was on it. Like, and this is, we played that Carling Cup of Nations against Scotland, say on the Saturday, went out Saturday night, went out Sunday, travelled to Belgium on the Monday to play against Italy, played Italy on the Tuesday. Like, still, Trapattoni had to call off a training session on the Monday because we were still pissed, and we beat the Italians 2-0 on the Tuesday.
That's mental.
But this is what I mean. Like, imagine like somebody saying to me, Keith, like, you're after being pissed 5 days this week. fuck, I'm only getting a cap against Italy. Like, Chiellini nearly broke me back. I thought it was the best thing in the world. I was like, I'm only after playing against Chiellini.
Yeah.
Got a cap, but really, me drinking is just still going like that. So it was very, very easy to lie to myself the whole time through. Like,
Scary,
this-
isn't it? Yeah.
This is like what you were saying at the start with the school thing. Like, you can't get in trouble because you're playing football.
Yeah.
Exactly,
So, like,
yeah.
you can't be an alcoholic because you aren't bleeding playing against Chiellini. There,
So many people say you can't be an alcoholic. And it's like, I'm just a very high functioning alcoholic. That's all I am. Like, although I'm not getting up at 6 in the morning and down a bottle of whiskey, I thought that was the definition of an alcoholic. It was an alcohol dependency, and I definitely had an alcohol dependency. So it was even like that stuff of lying to myself in my head. No, an alcoholic, somebody who drinks whiskey 24/7 and needs to drink. Like,
Yeah.
I thought I was just
It's that
socialised.
perception,
Yeah,
isn't it, of an
that's what I mean.
alcoholic?
But that was me lying to myself, trying to say, well, I'm not in that category, even though I was in the alcoholic category. I just wasn't in that fucking position.
wasn't that picture. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a lot of lying to yourself at the time, you know.
What was your debut like for Ireland?
It was good. I don't really remember it, to be honest. Like, there's little, it's fucking horrible. Like, even my wife will say to me, "No, do you remember this? Do you remember we did that?" And I've little fucking patches, because you have to remember, like, for about 6 or 7 years of my career, I was drinking the fucking blackout every day. Like, so
Yeah.
there's certain things I just don't remember. And the one, the one thing I remember about playing in my debut was against Argentina. Messi played. I think Di Maria scored, and I think he was offside because I was on the bench and everybody was going fucking mad. So I think he was offside. I don't remember like much about coming on. I remember going down to Sally's, meeting my granddad and taking me jersey out of my bag and giving it to him, and that's literally the memory I have of my debut. Like, it was like I should have embraced it more. I should have loved it, looked around the Aviva,
It's
thought
easy
what I
to
was
look
doing.
back now though and say, I
hindsight's a
should have done
wonderful
this or I
thing, yeah.
should have done that, but that's bleeding. This one makes you who you are now, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
exactly,
You have
yeah.
to go down that bleeding road or that journey to be able to sit here now and help people that
Yeah.
are struggling with the same sort of things that you are now, you know what I mean?
And see, when you were going to, like, so if you get called up to Ireland, were you looking at that as like, lovely, I'm getting off the lead here for the world because they were more strict in England in terms of drinking, or what way did you look at that? Like, were you not shocked when the training got called off for the Italy match? Like, you're playing Italy and you're not training. Were you like lovely, or were you like, oh,
I wasn't shocked because I had managers. Like, you have to remember when I signed for Blackburn, there was a tail end of the drinking was still going on. Like,
I was gonna say that as well, because like, it's not as if drinking culture was big when you were.
I was when I first
Was
came
it
in.
really? Yeah.
Blackburn was big. Like, the likes of Arsenal, United, maybe not even Liverpool back then, but Blackburn had a very like decent drinking skill. I remember being in the physio room with Gary Flickroft, Dominic Matteo, and one of the other senior lads, and they were all drunk, and I was in doing me prehab work, and they sat me down and they said to me, "Don't ever miss a night out, because before you know it, your career will be gone." And now listen, they didn't mean that fucking literally, but I took it fucking literally. Like, every night out I was fucking there. Go karting, team bonding, I was fucking there. Like, and I had a good time as well. So like, nobody put a gun to the head and made me do it. It was all self-inflicted. But like I say, there was little times in my career that alarm bells should have been going off when they just weren't. Like,
Yeah. Like, they calling off a whole training session for an international match, so.
Just
yeah,
because of
I
how
remember we went down for dinner. Like, we actually stayed in the hotel with the Italians, which doesn't usually happen. You're in separate hotels, and I remember getting off the bus and thinking like, "Jeez, I might get sick here." Like, 'cause I was that fucking bad still. And all the Italians are standing in reception, like, with their suits on, little bags, like, look fucking great. And you're thinking like, well, Jesus Christ, like, we have to play against these tomorrow. Went down for dinner. Trapattoni was like, no. So no training. See us in the morning. Went out Tuesday morning, little like boxes, little touches around, nothing too major. And then, went out that night and beat them 2-0. Fucking mad, isn't it?
That is mad, yeah.
And then back on the sauce, like. Back on the sauce then.
I'm back on it then. That's an excuse to go back on it
Yeah,
then,
after
at
beating
least.
Italy fucking 2-0, go back on the sauce. It was mad.
That's a vicious
crazy.
cycle, that though.
I know.
It's vicious. So Preston then. You just get relegated with Preston.
Yeah.
What happens then?
Got relegated with Preston. I remember Phil Brown, Darren Ferguson got sacked halfway through, just after Christmas. Phil Brown came in and got the job. And Phil Brown was grand. Towards the end with Fergie in the middle, towards the end, I fell out of the team. Like, I got caught in a night out or something. And he was like, "Fuck you, you're not coming back in." And the team was actually suffering from it. Like, you could see from the outside, I was the top scorer. I hadn't played in 2 months and I was still the top scorer.
Yeah.
And he got sacked anyway, and Phil Brown came in and he played his first game, didn't put me in the squad. And then you done an article saying something like, oh, we're playing well, we just haven't got that finishing touch in the team and we'll get it. So I remember going in the Monday morning, and I was still in the reserves, you'd have to put me back in the reserves. I brought the paper in, I was like,
There's your finishing touch.
yeah, so I'm still, like, I haven't played in 2 months and I'm still your top goal scorer.
Yeah.
And he gobbled her up. He was like, I fucking love it. I love it. You're starting. Started against Watford on the Saturday, played well, and that was it. Back in the team. But he then said to me, like, I couldn't give a fuck what you turn up like during the week, as long as you're ready for the Saturday.
So, like, the alarm bells are there, and like these people can clearly see that, but everyone's just choosing to be ignorant about it.
Yeah, well, like, the manager of the club, like, do you really have to care about the human being? Like, you're only cared about the player, don't you? Like, if,
Given the results, yeah.
you know what I mean? If you're saying to me, oh, I don't feel great, but I need you to play, I'm just going to manipulate your thoughts until you're on the fucking pitch. You know what I mean? I couldn't really give a fuck about you as a person. Most managers wouldn't. They just, if you can play, you can
Did
play.
anyone ever say anything like, are you alright, or don't go out tonight, or not? Like, now I don't mean say don't go out tonight, need you fresh for tomorrow, but like maybe for you shouldn't actually go out tonight. You know what I mean? Staying in might not be a bad idea.
Like, again, like you say, hindsight's great, but at the time, Sean Dyche was very good at me. He actually cared about me. When he came in, when I went to Barnsley, Eddie Howe was there, and me and him didn't see eye to eye. We get into bleeding that in a while, but Sean Dyche was brilliant. He used to bring me on jogs. Like, when he first came in, I was overweight because I was back in the reserves at Barnsley at the time. I was overweight. I was drinking. I had a $6,000 fine waiting on me. It was like over 50 grand fucking fine. And Dyche came in. He was like, that was the last manager. I'm squashing that. Come out of the reserves, back into the first team, lose that belly, and he'd be back in my first team. I was like, brilliant. And you know, when you're thinking, he's just going to fuck me in the gym, leave me offside and like whatever. But the next day, we trained. He comes over to me, come on, Keith, we're going on a jog. And like, every day for 3-4 months, we go jogging through Barnsley City Centre. And the cars would be beeping at him and all, big ginger fucking head, and I'm like, can't miss him, like. But he was brilliant. Like, we'd start chatting about stuff, you know, stuff at home, and he would always say, like, Keith, I care about you. I like you as a person. I want you to be better than what you are. And he was brilliant. He never, very rarely mentioned football to me, like, which was so surprising from such an intense man. But I think he knew Keith has that side of it. I need to figure this side out of it with him, and he did try. And I would say he's the only one. Other managers tried to force me to get help, but he was the only one who sort of was good with it.
Yeah, that's unreal. Like, fair balls. So, do you ever open up to him when you were out?
I did loads of times. Like, me and Dyche fell out a few times, and I opened up to him a few times. But I remember I opened up, and like, you get slapped on the wrist a couple of times in football, and you don't want to open up again. And I opened up all the time to him, but you wouldn't tell him the extent of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was out on Saturday. I had too much to drink, and oh yeah, okay. Well, as long as it's only once. But really, you're out Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. Like, and you just. You feed him what he already knows, and you don't tell him too much because you're trying to protect yourself. You're still trying to get into the fucking team, but you know, like, I still keep in contact with him now. Like I say, I don't have a phone. He has me missus' phone number. Sends a little text every now and then asking how I am, and I sent him a text when he got sacked. And he's probably the only decent human being. Like, there's not an awful lot of decent human beings in football, and I don't mean that in the League of Ireland, because it's not as stressful in the League of Ireland. Over across the water, it's fucking mental. Like, there's people are so two-faced about it. It's like, I was a professional footballer for 13 years, and I barely speak to anybody. I don't think I've any friends from my time in football. Like,
That's mad.
A lot of Irish lads that go across struggle. What do you think that is over there?
I think just the isolation. Like, I went from Dublin city centre to Blackburn, and like I said, it was like Emmerdale Farm. I went from hearing traffic lights to hearing cows mooing. It was just, it fucked with me head. And but like I said, that isolation probably would have been good for me had I have been mentally sound.
Yeah.
But because I wasn't mentally sound and I was being left alone, like, a normal day at Blackburn was in the building for 10. You'd be back out by 12.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And on $2.5 grand a week, your own gaff, fucking Tinder and Twitter starting to pop up. It just starts fucking danger, doesn't it? Like, but then I'm thinking, like, because I'm a bit shy, I need a few fucking gargles in me before I start acting the bollocks. So now to socialise, and I need to be drunk to socialise. So it just all became into this
It's an
fucking
accumulation of
horrible
everything,
ball,
and then you're
yeah.
probably gambling then while you're bleeding
Exactly,
drunk, and the whole lot. So everything comes at one. Was it a porn addiction or a sex addiction?
Both, yeah.
Like, cause I remember you were saying it to me.
Right, I actually had this conversation with the lads when I was out the weekend because I told them that you were coming on. Well, this was first like caught my attention with you, Keith, like because you're not the first person on this podcast who's had a gambling addiction or an alcoholic addiction, but a sex addiction, right? Because that's something that I'm like, how do you put your hand up and say I'm addicted to sex? Like, where do you draw the line there? What's the difference to you being addicted to that and you just being one of the boys? Because if one of the boys rang me and says I'm at being with a girl Saturday, Sunday, Monday, I'd say fair play to you. I wouldn't say you have a
Yeah.
problem.
See, it's hard to give you a definitive answer, but I don't want to be disrespectful to women, but if I was to line up the women that I had slept with over my life, some of them you'd look and go, what the fucking hell? You'd be like, that's a sex addiction. It wasn't just because I'm horny or just because X, Y, or Z. It was a need. I had to have sex that night. I needed somebody. And like there's all sorts of things like because I was in England, you know, you're trying to get a mother figure, so you go for older women and stuff like. It's all the stuff you figure out when you're in fucking therapy, like when they tell you this stuff. But yeah, you're just trying to fucking fill a void that's there. And I think I filled mine with sex. And if I'm out in these, like I wouldn't, when I was a footballer, I wouldn't go to swanky nightclubs and all that. I'd be in the bars like local around fucking Blackburn or Preston, Manchester, wherever, picking people up there because I didn't want to be on that scene. I didn't want people because I was getting drunk. I was going out to get drunk, pick somebody up and do whatever I wanted to do and move on to the next. So it was more a need than a want is probably the best way I could put it. Like I never did any cocaine. I never had any drug problems, but I would stay up if 2 o'clock in the morning I'm having a few gargles and I'm trying to, and the girl I'm with has fucked off. I'm fucking hanging around all night like till I get somebody. I'm not just going home.
Do you think it was the fear of just being on your own?
Yeah, a lot of it was that because, like I say, when I was alone, the thoughts started and I couldn't. The only way I found to be able to numb that was to get pissed and then I'd start singing a song in my head or something. So, but there was always a constant noise in my head. Even when I'm in a fucking empty room, there'd be a noise in my head saying something, or you know, I just needed to find a way to get inside myself and turn the fucking thing off, like, and I had to get to the root of what was wrong with me to be able to do that.
Yeah, because that's something that we've talked about. Is like, when do you draw the line and go, I'm actually addicted to sex here?
Yeah.
It's like, because you said there's no definitive answer, which I don't think anybody could sit down and say, this is where
This
you're
is too
enjoying
much.
yourself
Yeah.
and now you're addicted. There is no. Because I feel like everything, I feel like everything that fellas do is nearly to attract a woman.
100% there is.
Like,
if
we
you look
get-
at Jeff Bezos, the richest man in the world, there's no reason for him to be that rich and do the things he does. But he's going through a divorce, now he has a new missus. He's trying to impress her. You know, like that's the way I look at it.
I think so. I think like even subconsciously though. I think even getting that haircut and buying them clothes, you're like thinking in the back of your head, oh, do I look fresh? And like I think we just think about women 24/7.
But that's
like
a-
even
that's a
when you're out with the
primitive thing.
boys,
Yeah.
like in a non-disrespectful way, like it's hard to even go for a coffee with the boys and the board walks past and you, Jesus Christ, like you know the type of
Oh,
way. I
that's-
feel
yeah,
like
but-
women is on our minds 24/7.
Yeah, women were definitely on my fucking mind 24/7. I mean, like, it's not big and clever. I don't want to come across as boasting, but there's certain stories at Preston, like, where I had 4 girlfriends sitting in a fucking stand, and you're coming out and you're waving, and fucking 3 or 4 are waving back at you. And it's funny, but you're just thinking, what the fuck are you playing at? Like,
Yeah.
who do you think
Yeah,
you
what
are?
hand, like, at that
what,
stage.
what gave me the right to do that to people? Like, it's like you say, it was a bit of ego, a bit of like, I am this and I am that, and you know, just being a bit of a young dickhead as well, like, it all rolled into one. But yeah, there's not a definitive answer on the sex. I think for me, it was more of a need to have sex rather than, you know, oh, she's nice, I want to have sex. It was,
Yeah.
I need to
When
have
you
sex.
were you were going home with a board.
I was going
that's the
home with
end of the
something.
story.
It didn't fucking matter what I was having sex with something.
Yeah.
So then that's probably where the addiction is there.
Yeah. Because like I think as a single bloke, like when I'm out, you sort of think to yourself, hopefully pull a little board tonight. But it's not like when it comes to the end of the night going, I need a fucking
Yeah, there's
board.
been plenty of nights you went home on your own.
I
Like,
can
Yeah,
happily
that's what I
go
mean.
home and go
Half
to
2 in
bed,
the
like.
morning and the nightclub's kicking you out. I'm not going home if I'm alone. I'm
Yeah.
finding somewhere dodgy and like somewhere I can kick on and give myself more opportunity to meet another board.
Yeah.
And I just hang around like a bad fucking smell till I got what I wanted.
Yeah. Well, that's obviously
that's
the
a
answer
problem.
there.
Yeah.
Yo, I mentioned Eddie Howe earlier. What's crack with him?
I think if you skip ahead because you were
I
at
think
Phil
no, I
Brown.
think Eddie Howe was there, and then Sean Dyche came in.
Yeah,
was it?
Eddie Howe was the force manager at Burnley. He
Well, we're not at Phil Brown though. you were at Phil Brown only come in and you gave him the newspaper and you says, I'm your finishing touch.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. So I done that with him, and like, he was great, got me into the team, I scored a couple of goals, but we ultimately got bleeding, got relegated. But I love Preston. I knew I was going to leave, but we went in, end of the season, you know, you have a meeting with the gaffer, what's your plans, this is what our plans are. And he said to me, like, you can stay if you like, but the club will probably look to offload you because you're an asset now. So I was like, listen, I'm happy to stay, blah, blah, blah. So I told him I'd stay. He said, all right, we'll try and keep you. I went to play for Ireland, and Trapattoni pulled me and said, listen, if you want to keep playing for Ireland, you need to be playing better level than the pub team. That's what he said. Pub team. But Preston. And you look at the Irish team now, it's fucking gas, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, you need to play at a better level than that pub team. But yeah, so he's like, I done that. Then Burnley came in, agent rang me, said, listen, Burnley have, I think, paid $1 million, they're offering $1 million for you. And Preston were like, yeah, like, we're taking it. So I refused at first. He said, no, Preston have accepted it. So I went in and I asked for like decent wages, thinking they'll tell me to fuck off and I can go back to Preston, but it got accepted. And the alarm bell should have been ringing when I signed for Burnley, because my agent rang me, said, listen, Eddie Howe wants to meet you before you sign the contract. So I was like, all right, yeah. Went to his house in Manchester, and me, my agent, Eddie Howe, and Jason Tyndall, the assistant manager, is there. So he collars me agent, do you want a cup of tea? Yeah, come on in the kitchen with me. So it's me and Eddie Howe left.
Yeah.
Eddie Howe's like, how much do you drink a week, son? So I was like, just fucking couple on a Saturday after a game, but if you game on a Tuesday, I don't touch it, you know. So I lied my way out of it, boxed clever with it. But the red that should have been going off, the alarms there. I was obviously getting a bit of a reputation within
like,
football
why did he ask
as
that?
being a drinker.
Yeah.
But like, even at the time, I remember walking out and saying to my agent, like, what the fuck was that? And him saying to me, oh, sorry about that, like, they ambushed you there, you shouldn't be asking questions like that. Almost apologetic to me, where he should have been saying, well, that's your fucking reputation, Keith. Like, you're the one who got it for yourself. Whereas he protected me and was like, what the fuck's he talking about? But it was obviously, it was a problem, but they still willing to pay £1 million for me, even though they probably knew this fella's a heavy fucking gargler. Like.
Some decent wages on top of it as well.
Exactly, yeah. But they're willing to make a loss if they think we get a decent fucking 6 months out of them. Like,
Yeah.
just fucking crazy. You know, I think I probably made 70, 80 appearances for Burnley in the 3 years I was there. So not a great fucking return, but
It's not too
It's
bad.
not the
though.
worst turnover, yeah. I've seen bleeding worse.
Well, what are you looking at, about 50 games a season? So you're playing
yeah,
half the
that fucking
games.
shit, yeah. Well, I suppose it's not too bad, but I think because you have to remember, every club I played for, I went to the rival. Like, I played for Blackburn, I went to Preston, they're the rivals.
Yeah.
Went from Preston to Burnley, rivals, and Blackburn's rivals. Then I went on loan to Sheffield Wednesday and Sheffield United,
Yeah.
two people that hate each other. So everywhere I went, I was booed because of where I was at the man. So I think they called me the Lancashire Hero like for a while, because I just bounced around Lancashire. Like, it was mad.
Lancashire, yeah. So then, what's your relationship like then with Eddie Howe when you got into the team then?
It was weird. Like, I remember I was playing in that Carling Cup of Nations, so I departed for pre-season about a week late. And I turned up on the Monday, and the lads have already done a week. So like I said, I'd already met Eddie Howe in his gaff, but this was my first day in the training ground. I remember walking in, going into the changing room, and Ross Wallace was at the leaving pressing to go to Burnley. So he sort of, come here, I'll show you the dressing room. This is the kit. This is what Eddie Howe should have done, or at least how you Keith shook me hand. This is where this is. He's going to bring you around. There's the captain. Didn't fucking say a word to me. Like, didn't see him the whole morning. Went out to do training, and like a couple of the lads are already out. The gaffer's standing there. I'm walking towards him, and not even like wait till he gets here. I'll introduce him to the lads, and then he can fuck off and do a bit of running because I was a week late. As I'm walking, Keith, you're over there doing the bleep test. Like, I was thinking, like, I think he was 33 when he got that job, so he was quite young himself. Like, but he was calling like some of the players that were only 3 or 4 years younger than him, like son, and he just rubbed a couple of people up the wrong way. And then I was hearing rumours from my agent that Eddie Howe didn't actually want me. It was somebody on the board of Burnley that wanted me, so I went above his head and signed me for him. So I was thinking, well, that's never going to happen. Like, he's never going to like me, you know what I mean?
It sounds like one of them situations where it's not really the manager's call there, and now he has a bit of a chip on his shoulder.
Yeah, well, I think he signed, 3 wingers from Bournemouth. Like, he came from Bournemouth and he brought 3 fucking wingers with him. So I was like, what fucking chance have I got? So he doesn't fancy me. And literally, I was probably 4 to 5 months into the deal, and I was in Marbella Like it was an international window when I didn't get picked for Ireland, so I went to Marbella for a few days, and he texted me while I was over there, "You're playing for the reserves tomorrow." And I was like, you wouldn't do that to a first team player because you need to, like, obviously a chance to fucking get your diet and all that right. But I turned up and I was after being burnt so fucking badly from the neck down. Somebody crossed the ball and the ball was coming to my chest and I just missed it. I was like, fuck that. And Eddie Howe was like, fucking take him off. So he brought me over, like set me on the grass. And he's like, just give up, son. Just fucking give up. And I was like, yeah, no problem. I've 2.5 years left. If you want to pay me 2.5 years, I'll leave.
Yeah.
And he's like, that's not happening. I was like, well, what do you want? He said, well, listen, you're in the reserves from now on. And that was it. Like, it was fucking, but mate, we just, like, he breathalyzed me for a good while, actually. A couple of weeks, he breathalyzed me. I remember, like, I used to be eating in the fucking canteen. I'd be tucking into me dinner. And I'd look up and I'd see him like that, you know, looking around the corner at me. I'd be like, what the fuck's he doing? And he pulled me into the office. He said, Keith, I'm at the man looking at you eating. Like, you're not a bad eater. Like, so where's the fucking belly coming from? Like, and I was like, oh, I don't know. He said, you're clearly a drinker. I was like, no. He said, well, listen, what I'm going to do is I'm going to breathalyze you in the mornings. And I was like, you can't do that. He's, why, have you got a problem? You know, like back straight on the back foot again. So it was like, ended up coming out of the room with him saying, I'm breathalyzing you every morning from now on. So for about 2 or 3 weeks, well, I boxed clever. Like, I'd only go out drinking when I had a day off the next day. So I done that for a few weeks. Then we played Millwall. We got a draw in the last couple of minutes. And he was happy. He knew I was flying over back to Dublin for my uncle's wedding. And the gaffer like looks at me and says, enjoy your weekend, buddy. So I was thinking, like, little wink and all. Never winks at people, little wink. So I was thinking, that's the green light for a few gargles. So I went to me uncle's wedding on the Saturday. I went Saturday night, got pissed Sunday, ended up flying back 6:30 Monday morning, straight into training. Breathalyze, breathe into this, will you? So failed the breathalyzer. 6 weeks wages, you're not training, you're back in the reserves. So I was like, but the fucking ironic thing was, as I went out, now I had a bit of drink in my system. There was a fella, actually, I won't name him, but he went to tie his laces, you know, leaned over to tie his laces and fell over. He was that pissed. But Eddie Howe was like on me. I was like, half your fucking team is pissed and you're having a go at me. But it just, we never, and I remember the 6 week fine. I rang the PFA and I was like, listen, he's trying to bleed and fine me 6 week wages. And he said, well, who breathalyzed you? I said, that was the physio. He said, by law, it has to be the club doctor that breathalyzes or it's null and void. So I had that in my back pocket going into work the next day, thinking, as soon as he says this, I'm going to fire that one out of the chamber. And he said, listen, son, I'm going to let you away with it. I'm going to let you away. I'm going to squash it. I want you to do well at this club. I was like, all right, brilliant. Back over to the reserves. He just sort of knew he couldn't fucking find me for it, so...
Yeah,
It's
but
mad.
I reckon that was a sign for, like, some people treat people differently. Like, Sean Dyche put the arm around the shoulder, brought you out, talked to you, opened up the whole lot. Do you reckon that was Eddie's sort of way of trying to help you? Or do you reckon he was just being harsh? Because he didn't want you there and it was someone went over his head to sign you?
I think it was a bit of both, because he asked me a couple of months into the contract, he asked me to go down to, you know, Tony Adams.
Yeah.
He has a clinic down south in England somewhere, I believe in London or Plymouth or Southampton, somewhere down there. It's called Sport and Chance, so it's for alcoholics, athletes and all that. Like, so he come to me one day, he was like, listen, I've had a word, it's all cleared for you to go down. I was like, what are you talking about? Like, he never came to me and asked me if I'd like to go down, or he just came to me and said, listen, I've had a word, we can get you down there. And I was like, it was weird, because I went straight on the defensive, because I hadn't opened up to him. I hadn't spoke about me drink to him, and he'd come to me with this, and I suppose I was probably a little bit embarrassed by how he approached me, and I reacted the way, like, a wrong way. I totally dismissed it, like, fuck this, and no, there's nothing wrong with me, you're a prick. And in hindsight, he was trying to help me, but I wasn't in a place where I was open to being helped, like.
Yeah, and that's sort of the cold shoulder treatment, or the harsh treatment, sometimes isn't the right way to go about it. Sometimes, look, it would have been nice for him to probably sit down with you somewhere and genuinely try and get you to open
Yeah,
up.
'cause that's what I was going to say.
The
Maybe
breathalyzing thing and all is a bit like, hold on for a minute.
But that's, I always thought he came at it from the footballer angle rather than from the human being angle.
Yeah.
And I think Dyche was quite clever, because had he sorted the human being out, the footballer's coming with him, do you know what I mean? But trying to sort the footballer out just gave me the thing that you don't genuinely care about
Yeah.
me. You just give a fuck about me, the football.
Maybe Hell wasn't mature enough. As I said, he was in his
Yeah.
early 30s, and it sounds like he just tried to catch you out all the time. Like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna breathalyse you. I know you're a drinker. Like, right, you know I'm a drinker, but you're not doing anything to help me about it.
Yeah.
You're just literally trying to catch me out and get me into trouble here, rather than
well-
sit me down. And be like, look, you know what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to beat this breathalyzer. Like, don't just say, "Here, there's a thing to go to rehab." Sit me down and ask me, "Do I want to go?" You know, like that. Sounds
Yeah,
like
but
you're just
like
trying
you
to
say,
get out.
I don't hold it against him because he was young. Like,
Yeah.
trying to like because he came from Bournemouth. Bournemouth weren't as big as they are now. They were a little bit lower than Burnley at the time, so there was a lot of egos in the club. And when he got the job, he was young, and it just wasn't a right fit. Like, I think the dressing room, the egos in it were maybe a little bit too big, and he's bringing this passing game that, like in Burnley, if you ever been to Bleeding Turf Moor, like
Yeah.
they scream the head off you. Like, you pass the ball backwards, you're on the verge of being taken off. Like, it's forward, everything. Like, so yeah, it was always just a bit of a mismatch with him. But
Was he the manager when that picture went down the paper? 'Cause that's a
yeah,
bleeding mad
that
old story,
bleeding,
you know that?
jeez. Yeah, that fucking picture. But even again, like that makes you look like a fucking lunatic, like in the football world. But I was playing for Preston at the time, and I had a girlfriend, and you remember the BlackBerry messengers were big.
Yeah.
Had everybody's pin, like everybody on the team. So we went for dinner that night, had a pre-match meal, came back to the rooms. About 9, 10:30, the lads are going to get the laptops out, start fucking looking at porn or doing whatever they're doing. So I was thinking, I'd fire this message out to all the lads, this picture message of me with my legs over my head, just knock everybody's wank dead in the water. Like. But it just got into the wrong hands. Like, just don't know how the fuck. Like, I sent it to about 20 players, so it could have been anybody like that I got out of. But this was before, like, you had to be really careful with that stuff. But yeah, then like I say, I was acting the bollocks with girls and all, and my missus at the time, she had found out I was cheating on her, so she just went bang. I have that, locked me out on my Twitter and put it as my profile picture. And look, I'm now sitting in the bat in Port Marnock playing for Ireland and bleeding, the phone's on the side of the bat. Eddie Howe like starts vibrating, thinking, what's this prick want? Hello, take that picture down, you bleeding lunatic. I was like, what are you talking about? I went to go in, like hung up, went to go into my Twitter, couldn't sign in. I was like, oh bollocks. And I went from like 2,500 followers to 5,000 followers in about 20 minutes, just because it was a picture of my arsehole hanging out. Like,
It made it to the paper, did it?
made it to the fucking paper and all.
Trap
Yeah.
seen it, didn't he?
I went down to training the next day, and Trap was sitting there with the paper, and he came over to me like, Trap was grand. He just said like, you have to do better. You must do better. But then like we went out and we're training. You know, like the photographers are allowed there for the first 15 minutes, so they fuck off, and then we're stretching after training. Every single player's in the pose I was in, like doing training, like legs over the head, going, go on, Keith. And like, Jesus Christ, man.
And it was so harmless, your idea.
Yeah.
Just send it around the boys' night.
Yeah,
whatever,
just a bit of
and
crack in the hotel. Like, 'cause
Boom.
them hotel, like we're in a hotel bleeding probably twice a week for like overnight stays. You get a bit bored, and you're just trying to loosen the mood. Like, we're playing Swansea tomorrow, big game, and I was just thinking, just lighten the mood, like have a bit of crack. And the next thing you know, you're on the back, like the front of the paper with your balls hanging out. So live and learn. That's another reason I don't have any phones. Like, nothing like fuck that shit.
Yeah, 'cause we were only saying earlier on before we started, it's weird that you don't have a phone.
I find it like when you're mentally not great like I am, I think it's better. Like I'm just old school. Like to sort this out, I think there was probably 3 texts. Like, can you be?
Yeah,
there? This
it
one,
was
no fucking
literally.
problem.
It was
'Cause
literally.
I hate being on the phone. Like,
Yeah.
I don't do it. Even like I bring me kids to McDonald's and they sit there and you whip their phones. And I'm like, put your fucking phone away. I despise it. I really do. I think it takes up so much of your time, and you'll get 50 good comments and 1 bad comment, and you concentrate on the bad one. So I just steer fucking clear of it at all. I realise the irony of saying this while I'm on the podcast, like, but
Yeah, no, but what you're saying is right though.
I just think for anybody who's struggling with mental health, I think so much of it these days is down to social media, or the negative side of social media. So for me, I just fucking axe it, just get it out of my life. And I know people are intertwined with their jobs and all these days,
some
so
people need it.
I know it's not that easy. But for me, I don't need it, so I just fucking chopped it. As simple as that.
And it takes the temptation away, because there's a lot of stuff you can get on the internet as well, like just the porn. There's obviously the gambling as well. So all that's gone out the window then when you're on the phone.
I like being present as well. You know, I hate when the kids are playing and you have a phone in your hand and like something happens and you think, oh Jesus, like I hate restaurants and all. And you can't even have a conversation with people because their heads are in their phones. Like,
Yeah.
and I'm probably too far on one extreme, and I'm talking about the people on the other extreme, like always on their phones. I'm never on the phone. So there's a happy medium there somewhere, but I'm happier just having fuck all.
Sounds like Blade Bet You Woods, he does.
Yeah.
You take a phone out in front of anybody older than you, so you put that fucking thing away, fuck's sake.
Yeah, but how
leave
many,
it
like,
alone,
when you
Scott.
take your phone out, how many times are you just actually doing bollocks?
Yeah,
You're
no,
just
you're checking
scrolling
it,
through
yeah,
contacts
yeah.
or old
Looking at
pictures.
Blade women.
Yeah, like, just actually sit there and do what you like. Be more present in what you're doing. Because,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like, with my mental health, I found I was always fucking off into the future or the past. I was never actually
In the moment,
present.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think phones are a lot to do with that, so I prefer to just stay.
How long have you not had a phone for?
Since I've been sober, nearly 6 years. 6 years in November. So, like, I still, excuse me, I still work off the wife's phone for stuff like this, or,
Yeah.
you know, stuff with the co-commentary and stuff. But yeah, I love being not
Do
being.
you know
out
I
in
have that
contact.
number saved in as Leanne/Keith Tracy?
Yeah, everybody does. Like, the amount of people that ring me, and like my wife has to come in, like, they think I'm some sort of big bollocks, like, with people answering the
Secretary.
phone for me. It's my wife's phone. I don't fucking have it. It's mad.
We go back in because you're nearly at the end there. Just football and sorry. So Eddie Howe gets the chop anyways.
Yeah.
John Dyche comes in and
Yeah, Howe got the chop. It was, geez, like, I made a couple of mistakes. Like, I remember when he got the chop, I came in. We were at the hearing, Eddie Howe's leaving just before I came out on Sky. Like, some of the weird shit that happened a couple of days before that, we were playing Sheffield Wednesday before Howe got the sack, and I was at the being on loan to Sheffield Wednesday, and Sheffield Wednesday tried to buy me, and it didn't happen, so I was still at Barnsley. But I was at the being caught driving, so I wasn't driving. I was getting a taxi to the ground, and as I'm on the way to
drink
the ground,
driving.
no, just driving without
you had
license.
no
I didn't have a
license,
license
sorry,
at the time.
yeah.
That's a valid question, like the drink driving. Yeah, everybody asking me that, but no, I never got caught drink driving. But I'm on the way to the game to play against Sheffield Wednesday, and I get a phone call saying it's Dean Marnie, a player for Burnley, rings me and says, "Keith, I'm after getting to the stadium. The security have pictures of you being told not to let you into the ground." So, like, fuck off, you're winding me up. Like, 2 minutes later, the phone rings. It's Eddie Howe. Don't come to the game. You're not welcome. So I was like, what the fuck, like? So I was grand. Like, I told me driver, turn around, I'm going on the piss tonight. So I went on the piss anyway, and I found out later Eddie Howe didn't want me at the game because he thought I'd be socialising with the Sheffield Wednesday lads in the tunnel and blah blah blah. But the next day, the owner at the time, Mike Garlick, brings me in. He said, "Listen, the fucking first thing he did was get me a match attack card." So, "Oh, will you sign that for my son?" I was like, great way to start a meeting. So I just gave it to him. I said, "There you go." And he's like, "How do I get you back in the team? I want you in the team." So I was like, fucking, this has started well. Like, so I was opening up. I was like, yeah. And I actually said to him, I said, "We need a new fucking manager. You want me in the team? We need a new manager." I didn't know this, but behind the scenes, Eddie Howe's mother hadn't been well, and he had walked out. He was going back to Bournemouth, so he knew Eddie Howe was leaving. So he was trying to get me on side. Like,
Yeah.
"Oh, we're going to shift him out to get you back in," type of thing. But that wasn't the case. Eddie was leaving
Anyways, yeah.
So yeah, like, it was just fucking mad times. But being banned from the Bladen ground and all, like, it's just weird shit, like. But yeah, no, Dyche came in. Dyche was deadly. He squashed the thing. Or, like, some of the mad stuff. Like, I'm not even sure if I should say some of the stuff that he did. Like, he says he didn't eat a worm. He fucking did eat a worm. Like, the first day of training, he just picked a worm up off the grass and ate it. And you're like, what the fuck is it with this fella? Like, he bent over like Ace Ventura, started like speaking out of his arse, doing all that, like, hello, doing it, like, this fella's mad. But he was brilliant. He was all about the players. And do you not remember, Kieran Trippier?
Yeah.
He was at Burnley while I was there, and he fucking fires the ball, like, just kicks it like down the pitch, but it takes like one of these fucking weird bounces straight off the back of Dyche's head. Like, this is like day 2 of Dyche's reign. Like, Dyche turns around, like, who fucking kicked that? Everybody's like, fuck this. Like, Trips puts up his hand, comes over, grabs Trips. "You ever fucking kick a ball at me again, you little cunt, and I'll kill you." Threw him away, like, yeah, thinking, oh fuck. But he, like, the next day, he came and he's speaking to the senior once Trips wasn't there, and he said, like, "I had to set the tone. I have to let you know that I'm the fucking boss."
Yeah.
And he was like talking. I was in the group he was talking to, but he looked at me. He put his arm around me. Then he was like, blah de blah. And I said, "Oh, I'm only 20. I think I was 24, 25. I was like, "I'm only 25, Gaffer." He's like, "Fucking hell, kid, I thought you were 30. That's why he was having a chat with me. Like, he's like, he looked me up and down, like, and stopped at me belly and went, "You're only 24. So, yeah, no, he was grand. Dyche was good. Like, he was just a good fucking man. Even like towards the very end, I was told there was a contract for me to stay at Barnsley. My agent rang me and said, "Listen, they're going to offer you a contract, but they don't know whether they're going to get promoted or they're going to stay in the league, so they can't offer you wages yet, so we're waiting on that." So yeah, no problem. We beat Wigan to get promoted. The next day, I'm actually thinking of. I actually rang my agent and said, "Will you go in?" And
Hold that mic into the key.
I rang the agent and I said to him, "Will you go into him and see what, like, just feel him out, see what the story is for next year? Because my contract's up in a couple of months." So grand, like, my agent, whatever, didn't do it. But then we played a game the next day, and one of the lads had got their agent to go in and feel him out, but he bleeding ripped him a new arsehole. He's like, "And you little cunt, you have something to say, you fucking knock on the door. Don't get your agent knocking on the door." I was fucking, like, I'd asked my agent to do it, but he just hadn't done it. So I'd rang him, like, "Fuck, I'll do it myself." So I knocked on the door, like, and said it to him, and he was just like, he took the contract away. Not that he took it away, but he said, like, "Listen, the board aren't happy with you. The board think you're a bit of a drinker. They're afraid that you're going to come back heavy and it's going to take you too long to get back fit. And this is the Premier League now, Keith. You know, we can't do this." And I said, "Well, if the board don't want me, I'm fucked, am I? Like, I might as well just leave." And he said, "No, well, listen, what I want to do is I want to bring you back on trial in July." So this would have been whenever. And he said, "Come back in July, come back fit, and I'll give you a contract." And fucking Dobie Bollox here said, like, "No, I'm not coming back on trial. I've played for the club for 3 years. I've played 70 games. Either you know what I'm all about. You either like me or you don't." And he said, "It's not me, it's the board." I said, "Well, if the board don't want me, they're not going to want me in fucking July."
Yeah.
So, you know, all basically he had set out the parameters to look after myself in the summer, knock the drinking on the head a bit.
It's Premier League football, that way.
Couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. Like, I couldn't admit that to myself. He was a cunt for taking the contract away. The club are shy for not wanting me. I can't believe they don't want me. I'll get a decent club. I've played 38 games in the Championship this season and being promoted. Somebody will take me. Bleeding Barnsley was the only club who fancied it. Like, and it was just, like, when you look back, you think, like, why didn't I fight for the Premier League? Why didn't I have that in me? But the drink had such a fucking hold over me that I didn't have any fight left in me. Like, I was thinking more of Saturday night drinking, Sunday drinking all day, Monday drinking. It's better to be in and out of the team rather than being a mainstay because I can drink more. And it was just fucking weird.
Barnsley didn't last too long, did it?
Who?
Barnsley,
no. I signed a 2-year deal at Barnsley, but even that was a fucking shit show as well. When I signed there, like, my agent rang me. The season was starting on the Saturday and this was on the Wednesday. And he said, "Barnsley want to sign you." So I said, "All right, grand, yeah." He said, "Listen, go and meet Danny Wilson in the hotel in Manchester." I met him, had a bit of a chat with him. He blew smoke up my arse for a while. "You're the player we need, blah, blah, blah." So the Thursday rolls around, go to Barnsley and do a medical, because they'll have your medical notes on standby, and if you sign, you'll be okay to play for Saturday for the start of the season. So I was like, "Oh, yeah, okay." Went down Thursday, ended up fucking signing, doing a yo-yo test, like, no agent, no nothing, just fucking sitting there. And what about this contract, Keith? "Oh, no, okay, what about this one?" Ended up bleeding signing. And no, like, I didn't even want to fucking sign. But they were like, "Oh, well, if you sign now, you'll be involved on Saturday." And you're thinking, like, Jesus, like, and I ended up signing. It was a rush job, a real rush job. I shouldn't have done it. Should have fucking been a bit more calculated about things. But yeah, even then, the drink was fucking massive every fucking single day. I couldn't break in. Like, I had a bit of weight on me in the pre-season coming into Barnsley, and I couldn't lose the weight. And like, they were looking at me going, "We're flogging you every day. You're running every day. The weight's not moving. Like, what the fuck?" I was like, I knew why.
Yeah, drinking, yeah.
They saw the day, but I don't think people pussyfooting around the issue and all that. Like, but yeah, no, it didn't last long.
Do you think, is it becoming more overwhelming now? Is your problems catching up on you at this stage? Like, the later you're getting here? Are you like, I've not got much running left from these problems. Like, could you feel it all coming to a head?
I could feel it coming to a head mentally, and I could feel it coming to a head physically, because, like, I started off as a left winger, running past people and crossing the ball, like, high energy, direct running, and then a couple of years down the line, I'm a fucking centre midfielder. Like, I can't move, can't track people when they run off me, and it was just because of the weight I was carrying. I was seeing the things that was happening, and I just physically couldn't get myself where my mind knew I should be, and it was so frustrating. And I think even that probably led me to the drink. The fact that I knew what I needed to do, and I knew I could have been doing better, and there was players that I was head and shoulders above at youth level, but they'd caught me up now because mentally and physically I just wasn't at it. And that was annoying me, because I was seeing them getting accolades that I thought, I should be fucking doing this. And it just drove me deeper and deeper into the hole I was in, rather than giving me a bit of fire to come out of it. But I think one of the biggest things I did wrong was when I set goals for myself. I wanted to play in the Premier League and I wanted to play for my country. I never put a number on it. and I done them 2 things by 21.
Yeah.
So after that, like a fire just like in my belly, it was gone. I just thought, well, I'm here to make a few bob, and then that's it. Now it was like proving a point that I could play football was out the window. Like,
It's a mad one. As I seen this, told the story before. I can't remember which club you were at, but when you were in the stadium and you were warming up.
yeah, Preston. Yeah, no, that was when I nearly fucking like that was when the alarm bells were ringing. But again, I just brushed it off. I was playing for Barnsley, and we were actually playing Preston on Boxing Day. So Christmas is obviously a bad time for like foreign footballers in England. Barnsley said, listen, we're not going to train Christmas Day, so you can have Christmas Day off. Report to the ground 1:30 on Boxing Day. So obviously everybody's with their families. Like there's no players that will come and socialise with me. So I'm in this fucking 5-bedroom gaff by myself and just crack open a bottle of whiskey and a pizza, and you just sit there. And before I knew it, like the next thing I knew, I woke up on my bedroom, my sitting room floor, with like bleeding bottles around me, and there was blood, like literally fucking blood, like I said, vomiting blood. And it just the taxi driver banging on the door, like dum dum dum, and I went and woke up and answered the door, and he was like, "What the fuck?" He was, "We need to ring your my girlfriend, my wife now." And yeah, just I remember even like as he jumped in the shower, I was getting ready, and I'm still fucking vomiting blood, and like I was actually due to start for Barnsley against Preston, and you would have thought playing against an ex-club I'd have a bit between my teeth, wanted to do well. I was just fucking so fragile mentally that like with Christmas I couldn't get my head around it. I could, like, because your family fucking FaceTime me for 2 minutes, oh Merry Christmas,
Yeah,
then you're back
that's
with an empty gaff, and you're thinking like, they're all eating turkey and this, and I should have been eating pasta, I'm eating a fucking pizza, like just to try and fucking humour myself or get myself into some better mood. But I just couldn't get myself out of the rut of negative thoughts. Everything was negative. I couldn't think of, well, I want to be a footballer and it's Christmas and this is one of my busiest times, there's nothing I can do about it. It was, poor me, I can't believe I'm here by myself, and I'll just drink till I black out. And it became the norm very easily, drinking the blackout, and which is fucking worrying, like.
And then what did you never even played that game then, you know?
Never played the game. I done the warm up, and you know, you do a few doggies there and back, and as I went to do them, I remember like me breath, like, you know, starting to breathe heavy, and just my peripheral vision getting black and black and black, and next thing I knew I could just about fucking see like people in the stands. Me hearing wasn't 100%, and I went back in, just ran into the change room like I needed a piss, and I told the gaffer, I said, I think I have the flu, I don't feel 100%. And he said, yeah, well, look, and just sit behind the bench, stay away from the lads, like, don't want them catching off you. I just got playing home, and that was it, game over.
So the last time you ever?
No, I played in the League of Ireland when I come back, but that
was the end of your career in England.
Yeah, done.
Was that when did you have the moment in the bat then?
That was a couple of years later. Like, I'm drinking and puking blood, but literally that between the game and that night, I'm back out on the piss in Dublin that night. Like, so but I do think me leaving, although Barnsley are probably getting a bit annoyed at me at this stage, I'm still a Barnsley player, but I think I got a bit of a fright with the blood, and
yeah.
I need to be around somebody here, because somebody might twig what's going on and help me. And I just got worried. I think I can't be alone here because I'm going to fucking die. So I just got myself home, but I kept drinking, but I was at home, so I felt a little bit better about things.
So what, you came back to play here then?
I came back. I didn't come back to play. Like, in my head, I was just coming back to sort my head out. But I ended up, an uncle of mine, John McDonald, was the manager of Drogheda. And he said, oh, look, we're not great, we're going to get relegated. Just come in and play the last couple of games of the season for me. So I was like, listen, I'll do it. I'll see if I like it. Played the first game, got beat by Limerick 4-1, and John left. John left the club after that. Just left me there for the next 7 games. But it got me foot back in the door, and I was still drinking like a fucking lunatic, Jordan, like heavy as fuck. Couldn't get round the pitch, and signed for Pats then, thinking maybe I'll kick on. Like, I played for Pats for 2 years, and I think I probably played about 4 good games, and they were all in Europe. Because like they get the week to week in the League of Ireland, it's just Finn Harps this week, this week. But then once the European games roll around, people start getting professional. It starts like the media are coming in to talk.
Yeah.
It starts feeling like a big game. So I built myself up for them games, but once they were gone and the level dropped again, I was just like, fuck this, I'm back on the gargle. I don't know, maybe it was just a bit of like, I felt I should have been playing at a better level and I couldn't come to terms with, so I just fucking kept drinking, and yeah, I just got myself into a dark place I couldn't get out of, you know.
Why is you retired at then?
I was done in England for about, was it 27, 26, 27 I was done in England. Completely done by 28, 29.
And is that when you had the moment in the bat?
Yeah, well, I think I was 28 when I stopped drinking. I'm 33 now, so yeah, sometime in around 28, I just, and it's not even like a physical thing to say I done it because of this. It was literally a mental thing, just sitting in the bath and my mind just snapped.
Yeah.
I just crying. I said I can't fucking do this anymore. Like I'm drinking like a lunatic. My mind mentally, I'm not right. And yeah, I just need. But me and my wife were having a few problems trying to conceive as well. So that was on me mind. And doctors were saying to me, maybe you should lay off the drink a bit to allow yourself a better chance. And yeah, like we were hitting the post a few times, and eventually she fell pregnant with Teddy, and that sort of kick-started me into it as well. Like having a little boy just made me come around and think, if I'm not going to be there for him, who the fuck is? Like, so yeah, it just made me think I need to set a bit of a better example, not just for Teddy but for my girls as well. So yeah, so sort yourself out in the end.
Brave decision. It's a bleeding tough journey.
Yeah, it is, but I don't know how you used to. You used to still go out gargling, like not gargling, but you just go on that scene and socialise.
Yeah.
I don't know how you do it, man.
That's all I always say to him is I don't get the urge when I'm out socialising. I'm alright when I'm out. It's when I'm in the gaff on my own board.
Yeah.
I sit there and I say, fuck, like, not doing that in heck. I got a box of bottles and a bag of blades and stuff.
Ah, see, I'm the opposite. If I'm grand in the gaff, if I'm out and I start seeing the fucking taps with the water running down them and the blade and the whiskey with
You
the...
still feel like that now?
Ah, yeah, I do. Like, there's no point lying to yourself. When I see the whiskey, I look at it and think, I'd love to fucking swallow that, but I know the repercussions of it. I know what
I'm
comes
the
with it.
same. I still get the urges as well now, but...
I think anybody who says, nah, I don't get it, I think they're sort of lying to themselves. I think you are getting the urge, embrace it, and feel like I'm feeling what I feel, but
Yeah,
I'm still
acknowledge
not
it.
fucking gonna do
Yeah,
it, like,
you're acknowledging
A
it.
couple of months ago when I was going out, I felt the next morning I was waking up like, oh, I need the taste of it. And then I stopped going out for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And I was saying to myself, I know for a fact I'm sitting around it too much now. I was going out like 2 or 3 nights a week, not because obviously I'm in recovery, so I'm not drinking. And then I was saying, why am I getting the urge so frequent now? It must be because I'm sitting around it.
Yeah.
So I stopped going out for a couple of weeks. And now I'm grand now. I go out once every week or two. Every 2 weeks we go out on the night. I'll have a few non-alcoholics and I'm grand.
Yeah.
But I think the more I was sitting around it, the more I was missing it.
That was good though that you're seeing that yourself, like I'm around this a bit too much, I'm starting to get that thought
Well, I
in my
was
head
ringing
too many
people.
times now, yeah.
I was ringing people that I know, like obviously Will White and stuff like that, who were in recovery as well, and saying, listen, I fucking need to have, I feel like I want to have a gargle, and saying, well, you're probably sitting around it too much, you know, getting a bit of advice off people here and there, and it's good to have contacts like that, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
You
of
can drop
course,
a bit of knowledge on you.
Yeah.
So,
It's not till you get older you realise all this shit, is it? Like
Yeah.
how fucking precious your time is and not to be going around
yeah,
fucking
it's
pissed.
so slippery, that slope.
Yeah.
Like, you start off with one a week and one night a week, and
Yeah, but that's like, even at the time, like obviously I'm drinking ridiculous amounts, but I never felt like an alcoholic. That's the weird thing. Like I'd never thought I'm an alcoholic, and I think that was because the thing I had in my head of an alcoholic couldn't go up and play football like I do. So I'm not an alcoholic. So now I am an alcoholic. It's just I managed to do what I do. It's only a couple of hours work a day as a footballer, so although it's physical, it's not that long. So
And you're young.
yeah,
as
and
well.
you know when you're doing a possession box, if there's 4 or 5 lads, you can play Casper the Friendly Ghost and just fucking hide in the corner.
Yeah.
Or just pass it to me and you hide behind somebody.
Yeah.
Like, so it's all verbal, but not actually fucking wanting it at all. Like so, there's little things you can fucking do to hide. And
Do you miss the ball, Keith?
I do miss it, but like I'm training Pat's under 17, so I get me little fix of the dressing room and stuff through that. Like the lads are good, and tactically I have a bit of an input there, so I enjoy that sort of thing. And with the co-commentary as well, like you're constantly looking how teams are playing, how they're going to win, how they're going to defend properly. So I get to break things down on a different level than playing. So I enjoy that sort of stuff, but the 90 minutes of football was grand for me. I always enjoyed it. It was the shit that came after. Like when you play for Blackburn, you go out to a restaurant, somebody has something to say to you. Or you go somewhere else, somebody has something to say to you. So and then social media was just starting to come into it as well when I was starting to play. So that sort of stuff I really had no time for. I didn't know how to deal with it and mentally. So yeah, I don't really miss the game, but I am getting me little fix here and there, you know, from tactics and stuff like that.
And you're going to be able to come at coaching from a different perspective, not just the tactics, but like you're going to understand that these are humans as well.
Yeah, well, that's exactly it. I think there's a real place. I know with Brexit and all now, kids can't go over as young as I did, but when they go over, if you're 17, 18, whatever fucking age you're still going to be homesick, you know what I mean? And a lot of Irish families are close Irish families, so to break somebody away and throw them over to England and say, right, go and be a footballer, it's a very difficult thing, and you feel really unique when you're over there. You don't think anybody else has ever gone through this. None of my mates have ever gone through what I've gone through, so it's quite hard to be able to open up and talk to somebody on a level. So, you know, if there's nobody really in the FEI that you can turn to and have a chat and unload the sort of stuff, or like a club liaison who'll come between and help, I think there's a real need for somebody like that to help the young lads out. Like you said before, there's so many Irish players go over and end up coming back because something's not right. It's not their talent, it's not the level of ability, it's something mentally. So there needs to be somebody there. Like there's definitely a niche for somebody just to try and help the lads out.
And I
over
think
there.
what you were saying as well is that it's not as intense here. So when you come back from after being in that intense environment, you think, well, why aren't these so intense? Am I stepping down a level? Am I a failure now? And that extra weight is on your shoulder then when you need to realise, like, the League of Ireland still, it's on the up as well. It's becoming a more decent level as well. You know what I mean? And like, there's people making a very, very viable career playing in Ireland now. Like, the money's going up as well. So
it is a very decent level. But like you said, because of the level that I came from, when I came to the League of Ireland, I felt like I'd failed. I remember doing a podcast and somebody asking me all them years ago, do you feel there's a bit of a stigma around you coming back? And I was definitely, like, I feel like people look at me and think, like, what the fuck's he doing here?
yeah,
But it was just one of them things, and it's good because although I had bags of ability and I could have done this and I could have done that, I'm more proud. I'm not as proud of my football career. I'm more proud of being able to come out the other side and recognise I fucking needed help at this point, and I got out of it. And I'd like to think now I'm a little bit better of a human being for it. Like, I treat people a bit better. I've more time for people. I'm not that stupid little kid that I was back in the day, and definitely lost that fucking ego as well.
and you can teach these kids a lesson so they don't have to go through what you went through.
That's a big thing. Like, when I was asked to coach the 17s, I thought it's not really for me because I was a bit of a fucking nightmare as a child. I think, imagine talking to somebody like me as a child. But I remember saying to one of the kids at Patch, like, oh, you need to do this, and their reply was, thank you, I appreciate it. I couldn't get over it, like, how nice they were and how much they wanted to take it on board. I just thought, this is fucking brilliant. If you got somebody who wants to learn, I'm all in. I'll fucking help you all day.
Yeah.
Brilliant, yeah. What's your biggest achievement in your career, do you think? Do you look back? What's your biggest?
I don't know. I suppose playing for Ireland.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was weird. Like, again, like I said, I was in probably 30 Ireland squads and I only got 6 caps. So that, like, the first thing that comes into my head is I should have got more. But
getting a cap is still unbelievable.
yeah, I know, but it's that thing, isn't it, of always having in your head, I could have done, I should have done, and I have X, Y, and Z reasons why I should have done. But, you know, like I said, I try and flip it on its head and make it a positive thought and say, you know, I should have done more, but at least I got 6. So yeah, maybe playing for Ireland for the first time, the Argentina game would have been probably a big one.
Yeah. Who's the best player you ever played with?
Do you know, I'm not going to say the obvious. A with or against?
With.
Well,
With.
give us with.
Yeah,
first.
go on then, yeah.
With.
Against is the obvious, obviously going to be the Messi one. Or the
Yeah, but
Ronaldo.
that's what I'm not going to say, Messi or Ronaldo. The best player I played with probably Craig Bellamy at Blackburn. He was fucking brilliant. Him, Roque Santa Cruz.
What was he like as a person?
He was cutthroat, like, really cutthroat.
Yeah. Some mad stories about Bellamy and stuff.
He was off the wall. He was a nice fella. Like, he was a nice fella, but he had a switch in him. But he was fucking brilliant. And that season he came to Blackburn with Mark Hughes. He went to Liverpool after that and then went to Man City. He was fucking unbelievable. But the way he trained, the way he's, like, I remember a couple of kids. I was one of the kids that come up to train with the first team, and him saying, like, "What are you doing here? You're shy."
Yeah.
Like, not to me. He was saying to other kids, and you're thinking, like, he's just cutthroat. Like, you know, he thought I was all right, so I got away with it. But if you didn't think you were good, he let you know. Like, he was
Madness.
fucking cutthroat. But I played against the obvious one, Ronaldo, Messi, but Rivaldo. Remember Rivaldo?
Who did?
Yeah, I played
How did you
against
play
Rivaldo.
against Ronaldo?
He was at Galatasaray in a pre-season game. And we played for Blackburn, and I can't even remember what fucking country it was in.
Now,
We weren't against Liverpool.
Did he play well this game, or was he just like, he was iconic and you got to play against him at the back stretch of his career, so you count that as the best player you play against?
Yeah, he wasn't great.
Now, I mean, who's the best player that you were playing? Like, Jesus Christ, this fella is class.
Can't touch him. Like, it's probably Ronaldo in that game, is it?
Ronaldo was good, but yeah, like I was playing on the right wing and Ronaldo was playing on the right, so
you didn't really.
like I think a corner broke and I ended up having to smash him from that. But yeah, probably fucking Scholes was good. He couldn't get near fucking Scholes. His passing ability was unreal. But there's some fucking players like you're thinking like these are bang average. I remember playing against Gary Neville. And you're thinking like,
what you doing?
bang
Hannah?
average, like.
He's banging average.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. You're thinking like this fella's played for United for so many years, and you're thinking he has to be this, and you're thinking all you have to do is get in a foot race against him and run past him. But yeah, there's some fucking chances out there, but there's some fucking top players out there as well. Santa Cruz was very good. You know what? Remember Roque Santa Cruz? You know what his nickname at Blackburn was? Rose Santa Cruz.
Why?
You all love the gargle.
Did he? Yeah.
Yeah, Rose Santa Cruz, Dominic Matteo, Gary Flickroft, even me. Like I was only fucking young, but I'd be dipping in and out of it. Like there was proper drinking skill there. Like
That's mad, because I thought like coming into the early 2000s, like you're at the backstretch of that whole drinking career kind of thing, and like people took it serious then. But like you're talking into what?
This
2010.
2008, 2009, yeah, 10.
Like that's madness to me. Like I thought when I was growing up, John, when you seen like footballers, because I always hate the youth and it's about people who are coming into their 30s now, and you know when you hear someone like, oh, he's 33 now, not much left, and I'm like, 33 now is not the same as 33 10 years ago.
Yeah, you're right.
They look after themselves, and I thought they would have been doing that in around your time. I didn't think the drinking culture was that big.
Well, like I say, I think the big clubs where like Arsenal, Arsene Wenger come over and he fucking sorted Arsenal out. He knocked the drinking on the head, eating right, but it took the rest of the Premiership. It took a while for everybody else to get like that. So I think Blackburn, although they had won the Premiership and all, they were on a bit of a decline, getting money for Duffer and that. But yeah, no, there was a fucking decent drinking skill. Every club I went to, there was a decent drinking skill. It was probably me like digging out the drinkers, you know what I mean? Probably routing them out and finding them. But I didn't have to. I used to go out with the cleaner for Preston. There was a little fella called Boris, a little Polish bloke, used to clean his dressing rooms. And if I couldn't get anybody, I'd text him. And he'd be saying, oh, I've no clothes. He'd be coming out in suits and all. Like I'd give him walking out just me and him. I'd be desperate. Like
mental. That is.
Well, you'd always find someone.
What you're up to nowadays, Keith? Just one thing that struck me at the start of the podcast was like went through all this, but I'm happy now.
Well, I do gardening 3 days a week. I'm a gardener out in Dollymount. I do that, and I do like me bit of analysis. I do 3 days a week with St. Pat's, and I've 2 girls, and Teddy's only fucking 3 as well. So 13, 12-year-old and a 3-year-old at home as well. So it's a lot. Like, but I love it. Like my house is fucking hectic, but it's like a good hectic. It's I know what's happening every day, and I have a routine, and I stick to the routine, and it's sort of, it would probably drive somebody else mad, but my routine is my routine.
Keeps you stable.
Yeah, it keeps me exactly where I need to be, and it keeps me in a good mind space. Like.
Yeah, that's brilliant. It's nice to know now. Like, you think that some people would be longing for what you had, but you're just longing for the bit of normality. Yeah,
well, the big thing for me, the normality. Like the football was great and it was a great journey, but I was never really comfortable in my own skin. I always felt like I had to do things for other people, and like I'd walk into a room and people would go, there's the footballer, and you sort of had to hold yourself in a certain way, and
get a reputation.
Yeah, you had to be a certain, like, hold yourself in certain situations. Whereas now I'm just happy in my own skin. And like if I was to walk out here and you say I don't really like him, it wouldn't really bother me. Like, you know what I mean? In the nicest possible way. I'm just comfortable. I don't long for acceptance like I used to. I'm just happy in my own skin, and that's probably the best way to put it. Like, I'm just comfortable.
It's great to know that you've come to terms with that, and obviously the counselling you had obviously helped you. Like, it's great to see.
Honestly, anybody who's, like, I'm sure you know, I heard you speak about mental health all the time on here, so the big thing for me is just to talk about it, get it out of you, because these things that fucking manifest inside you, they can be a killer if you leave them in there long enough. You need to fucking unload them to people, whether it's your wife, your kids, your fucking dog, or some stranger you're never going to see again in your life. Just fucking unload it to somebody. Once you start doing that, you're on the road to recovery. You just need to unload it.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Yeah. You got anything else?
No.
You happy? Yeah. We'll wrap this one up, Keith. Thanks for coming in to us, honestly. Brilliant this was.
Yeah, nice one for coming in, Keith.
Yeah, right. That's it. Right, take us out, Chris.
Boom.
Subscribe to this podcast for free on the Go Loud app.
What you waiting for? Put your back in it. Just a little more. Throw your weight in it now. Tell your body okay. Walk it hard and long. When you finish that,
The hip knocker.
go down, go down, go down. Come up, come up.